Yeah, buddies. Well, you know it's Friday when Vito does references that are at least, 10, 12 years old to viral video. I'm Ron Bennington.
And I'm Gail Bennington.
And I think there's a little bit of dust in this room. I'm actually picking up something bothering me. These goddamn...
the vents.
Yeah, the vents have dead people in it, and every once in a while, their skin comes off into our studio. You know. Global warming. Thanks, Obama. Fucking Kenyan. I think, or whatever. Let's jump into this. I want to. Gail was telling me that you have some kind of major attack on the millennials, and that is my pastime now. It's my hobby.
Yes.
Just hating younger people.
Well, they're soft targets, as they say.
Well, I think Clint Eastwood, whatever that movie, El Camino or whatever that I haven't seen, but from what I understand, thank you. From what I understand, is just the way to go. I will tell you this: anytime I'm in a cigar bar, I'll just hear that movie being talked about constantly.
Yes, millennials are a problem. And they're always under attack. So BuzzFeed put out, now that they kind of do an annual list of all the articles written about millennials are killing this. Good. Millennials have destroyed this thing. So this is their list for 2018 of the things millennials have ruined.
Let's see whether we agree or disagree.
Okay. So first one, millennials are killing porn.
Porn?
Porn,
yes,
yeah, porn.
They're saying they're killing porn. That they are not viewing enough porn compared to previous generations.
I'm very surprised about this because I thought these incels, that was a big part of their problem.
Well, they also they watch video games instead, like people playing video games instead of porn. Like they'll be on Twitch.
Well, yeah, but that's like saying somebody watches fucking Monday Night Football instead of porn. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Let me tell you something. Before, like the VCR. Only a couple people would see porn. I mean, the fucking move to walk in to a porn fucking theater was as brave as walking into a gay bar. You know what I mean? Like, it was the just literally either people who had given up on having a social life or youngsters that were curious, but it was a rare event.
Now, I don't think that they're paying for porn. You could tell me they might be killing the porn industry in some way, but I think they're viewing it for free.
Why would anyone pay for porn? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
It's so easy to get for free, to download for free. Like it's
it's just the same way you killed music. You're killing porn. That's the thing. You have no respect for the art.
No respect for the art of porn.
But you know who does and makes a case for it is Lisa Traeger. Says you should be supporting your porn stars. You should be supporting people that you enjoy.
I don't know whether she pays for it, but she does follow them on Instagram and finds like their hobbies and food and all good. But again, I think that's easier for a woman to do. I think when a guy does that, you've gone into creep town. Like even when a porn star is traveling and you go to see her to get your picture taken, every one of those guys is a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Porn expos look intense. Like, I don't think I could ever go to a porn expo.
I think everyone watches porn, but these are people who are taking it too seriously.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's not a way of life.
Yeah, I mean, I think they get being a fan and stabbing confused.
I went to one once about 15 years ago.
Thank you. That answers every question I have.
At the Javits Center, and it was not sparsely populated with fans, but the ones who were there, a lot of people in wheelchairs. That's a big part of it. When
you say not sparsely, that would mean that it's packed.
Sparsely, I meant.
I just got a text from Earl that said rock and roll. Thank you, Earl. I agree. 100%, man. Such a great genre of music. Too bad it's got killed by the millennials.
Yeah, that's definitely got to be on this list.
All right, so, I don't know whether I agree that the millennials killed porn. Like everything else, the computer made the idea that you could make a living off of it go away.
Right.
All right, next one.
All right, next one. Millennials are killing credit cards. So they're debt-conscious millennials threatening to completely kill credit cards.
Bullshit, I think. Because look, the points thing is fucking talked about constantly. And you get points through credit cards. They're not killing credit cards.
Yeah, but you get points from opening up a new credit card, and it doesn't necessarily mean those people are making purchases. Like, they get a new credit card, they get their fucking whatever, flight points, and then they barely use it and close down the other credit card that they have, and that's the gimmick. I know because I've seen it on television, and I know what they're up to. Now, to do this seems as exciting as having a job as an accountant. It's the most dullest, boring. You really have to have your shit together to pull this off. You might as well just go work a dull, boring job. I'll tell you something that the millennials are killing, though. And Vito and Chris will back this up. And that's these Bennington T-shirts that they're wearing, modeling now. Go to the iBangshop.com, iBangshop.com to pick up that new Bennington T-shirt for Christmas. It's fabulous.
It's a beautiful shirt.
Thank you. All right, give us another one, Jay.
Millennials are killing divorce. They're saying they're blaming them on the demise of divorce.
Well, look, I would like to have something added to the list. And that's if you live with someone for a couple years and then you break up, that should be a divorce. That's the fucking difference.
Just because you didn't get the law involved.
Yes. Yes. So now, if you don't, you got to carry that D around for the rest of your life, no matter what you do. And you run into people that are 50, there's like, this is your fourth marriage? You're a fucking dick. But how many people do you know that have lived with 2 or 3 other people?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then they get, just a donut. It doesn't exist.
Now, I was with the girl for 8 years, never lived together. Does that count as a divorce?
No, you're an incel.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fucking baby that's going to date for 8 years and doesn't fucking make a commitment. That's what a child would do. Vito, you on the other hand, you have a divorce.
I have a divorce on my head. I'm a divorcee.
How long did you live together?
A year and a half.
See, I did less than that, and I got a fucking D. And I'm carrying it around, and people ask me about it. What happened? I don't fucking know, dude. Did you ever break up with anyone?
So nosy.
Did you have to divide up anything when you broke up?
There was just a few things. I was like arguments over, is this yours or mine?
Right. That's a divorce, dude.
Yeah.
That's a divorce.
That's a fucking divorce right there. And if it's only bad if you have a baby to talk about.
There was a dog. There was a dog, and there had to
that's
be
rough.
There had to be scheduled. Like I had to figure out when I had to walk the dog, and she was.
She what? You sound like a son now, rather than a.
No, like when I could go over to her new apartment and like get the dog. And
Oh God! You kept that
You get
going
joint
after a dog.
custody?
I like the dog. I was a big fan of the dog.
Everybody likes a dog. You got to fucking let go, dude. Apparently, you got around to letting go, right?
Did you get
You still walking the fucking
No,
dog?
the dog died.
Why? From the fucking not being fed enough?
It was died of a broken heart.
All right. So most of these things that they're bringing up, I'm not even
Yeah.
sure whether I believe.
Yeah,
in.
because they also blamed millennials on killing marriage. So they've killed both marriage and divorce.
All right. When you kill marriage, you kill divorce.
Okay, so millennials are killing American cheese.
Really?
They're blaming them because they're interested in lots of kinds of cheese where previous generations are like, I'm an American, I eat American cheese. The plainest of cheeses.
Is white American on this thing that Americans are killing, millennials are killing? Because I like white American, but I don't like yellow American.
Yellow
American
American's
is
disgusting.
American.
I always look at white American as a different taste and a whole different cheese.
It's a different texture for sure. Yellow American cheese is very rubbery and disgusting.
Yeah.
I would never.
Look, does it have plastic around it when you buy it?
No.
Okay. So there's not that big a difference. It's when you fucking put it in plastic, you
Yeah.
destroy it no matter what.
Those
it is.
craft singles, those things are disgusting.
Why
Yeah.
would anyone even say I need a single?
It's bad for the environment.
What environment? It's already over. I saw Al Gore the other day. He was crying and throwing up.
We should have listened.
All right, give us another one.
So millennials are killing exorcisms.
Sad.
Not enough priests are able to perform exorcisms anymore.
Well, if you want to, if anytime you see something like exorcism, you go there and it's always a Spanish-speaking country. You're not going to do an exorcism in the United States. You're going to get arrested if you try this shit in the United States.
Also, again, I feel like we're nitpicking because I know that they've said millennials killed religion. And so now they're going to be like all the specific details of things that are involved. Like, you just want to blame them.
Man, that fucking thing of Trump being the only one not saying the prayer was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was so good. And like arms folded, just like not interested.
He looked like me at church.
And they said he was back in the White House before the casket even like left Houston.
Well, he wasn't in Houston.
Or where the service was.
Service was in Washington.
Never mind.
What are we doing with Chris? Let's have a vote right now.
Putting me
Do
down.
we want this in 2019? He's yelling out Houston for no... First of all, he didn't need to add anything. He had zero knowledge of it, and then he just yells stuff out. I'm sorry, millennials, but Chris Stanley has ruined this show.
All right, so millennials are killing ESPN.
Well, that is true. I mean, you can't get around that. You fuckers won't pay for your TV.
Nope.
No. And I don't know anybody that watches, like, any of my friends that watch any shows on ESPN in general anymore. Like, Sports Center's not popular.
It's coming back, dude. Fucking Reed. They're getting rid of that fucking, what is it? Get Up, Wake Up.
I would never watch. That shit's even worse. The only secondary show I ever liked on ESPN was when Michelle Beadle was doing Sports Nation. I liked that show.
Yeah, I bet you would.
I like Scott Van Pelt. He comes on after Monday Night Football. And his fucking studio is way too big for him. He's just one dude at a desk, and the thing is gigantic.
But he is a Sports Center guy.
Yeah. He's the guy I like. I think out of the rest of the Sports Center dudes.
They also just do too much. It's just all football all the time on that channel. There's like no other sports that have
basketball's on there constantly.
But the show, like specific show wise, like it's always like NFL countdown show or college football countdown. The only show on there is like the starters.
It isn't their programming that's hurting them. It's the fact that people don't watch cable. People are fucking cutting the cord, and that's their destruction. Because the fact is, they were the biggest reason to get cable when cable first came out. Oh, did we get ESPN? Good. And they charged more than anybody else. They charged almost like they were HBO. So that's what happened to them. But it's the same way of like you could sit around and act like if the New York Times or Washington Post had better articles. You guys just don't read newspapers.
Yes.
And you don't watch fucking TV in the way of paying for it. You know, you're like Flathead with his fucking thing.
Yeah, and Monday Night Football completely got eclipsed by Sunday Night Football. I don't know how they let that happen.
Well, Monday Night Football is the most horrific fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just bad all the way around. Everything about it is bad and boring. And visually, it's the worst fucking football game of the week.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
See it.
It's just fucking
the
terrible.
Presentation's awful. It feels just like a random, like when you watch like those baseball games they have during the week that don't feel special at all on ESPN. That's how Monday Night Football feels on ESPN.
Well, you've got the fucking color guy that no one gives a shit about. He's dull as fucking dishwater. And then fucking Booger is just walking around anywhere in the stadium he wants to be, cutting into stuff. It's fucking bad. The show needs a producer.
Yeah.
The whole show needs to be revamped. You got to get rid of everybody. You can't fix that.
Do you keep it on ESPN or do you move it back to ABC?
Well, they moved it to ESPN because they felt like it wasn't big enough to be on ABC. It wasn't as big as the programming they were putting up. There's just too many football games on television. That's all.
Monday Night Football used to be a top 10 rated show in the country. It used to be
the number one show in the country. It was like Monday Night Football 60 Minutes. That was the fucking 1-2 punch.
They just switch spots.
Yeah.
Depending on the game.
And then occasionally you get a mash or a fucking, but I mean, it was the steadiest thing that you had. But it was your national game of the week. Now there's 100 national games a week. And the same way, you talk, how much basketball can they run when there's a fucking basketball network? You know what I mean? Talking about basketball 24 hours a day. There's a football network talking about football. There's a goddamn baseball network who just sits around and talks about who should be fucking batting third for fucking Seattle. Who cares?
Yeah, the NHL network runs out of the store across the street. If you walk into that store, you just see them recording all the live shows.
Yeah,
there.
and in the meantime, too, the same fucking players end up having to sell stuff.
My jersey.
So almost every one of these things is a technology.
Yeah.
The fact that you have so many choices, nothing is going to be big.
All right. So the next one, not technology related. Millennials are killing Applebee's.
I think Applebee's killed Applebee's.
I think I've eaten at an Applebee's once in my life, and if you told me I was at Ruby Tuesdays, I would have believed you. All those fucking things are terrible.
Yeah.
They're so gross.
They're all gross.
The only reason the last time I went to an Applebee's was 2 years ago when they had dollar margarita, I think October. And I went to one in Brooklyn. They're like, no, we don't have that promotion. You have to go to Yonkers. It's the closest one to get a
How long
dollar.
did it take you to get to Yonkers, big spender?
About 2 hours.
Oh, you went?
You hiked up the Yonkers?
Sure he did. It was cheap margaritas. Why wouldn't he?
20 margs for $20.
I saw this other ridiculous thing. You can get a Whopper for 1 cent if you go into a fucking McDonald's and then open the app there.
What? So just to be malicious?
Yes. Then you have to fucking try to make it through a fucking big Whopper.
That's a sloppy cheeseburger.
It's maybe the worst bread I've ever tried in my life.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, fucking Burger King can't even pull off a breakfast. I go walk across the street, see how you fucking do breakfast.
Yeah, they've had a while to figure it out at this point. And I think I've only once tried to do a Burger King breakfast, and it was vile.
Yeah, I don't even understand it. I went into a Burger King once and saw 2 people hanging. Nobody was even trying to bring them down. I'm like, I can't eat here. I thought it was a pinata fucking party, but no.
Do you know how they make the burgers there? They have a little conveyor belt of basically, it's like, it has fake grill marks on it. And you just put it in and it heats up like that. Like it's just like a microwave with a conveyor belt on it.
I swear that they have like a grill spray that they hit the top of it with.
All right, the next one, also another restaurant chain. Millennials are killing Hooters. Why? Because they're not interested in boobs. They prefer butts, is what they're blaming it on.
Well, I think it may be time for Hooters to do an update. Those...
You don't think the orange short shorts are still relevant?
I honestly believe that look came from the when the Playboy Mansion started letting people roller disco on their tennis court. People wore those
Right.
kind of shorts. They weren't even big when Hooters came out.
Really?
Yeah, that Hooters was Hooters was a nostalgia. They were doing that, and they were playing 50s and 60s music in 1984. You know what I mean? They weren't playing fucking 80s music in 1984.
I had no idea they were a nostalgia thing. I just thought it was like a current thing, and they were playing like 80s music, and women wore those pants all the
I
time.
assume they opened in the 70s because of the outfit.
No, they opened like 83, 84. I can't believe they've made it this long. I mean, to be totally honest with you. I think they've overperformed.
They should be proud of themselves.
Here's the grossest thing about fucking Hooters. If you go there and go in to take a piss, the entire place stinks of their sauce. Because dudes are just running in there and shitting that sauce straight out.
Oh, God.
And that's been like that since 83. That's not a new thing.
That's gross. I thought you were going to say the grossest thing is like the greasers, those like beer mugs that they hang over the chicken fryers. So you get like a fried grease beer mug.
I even think it's funny, like how old their pictures are. It's like a Hooters girl with Dan Marino.
I think it'd also be hard to market a restaurant around asses because of what happens with asses. Like
What shit?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think that's what guys are thinking about when they like a big ass.
So, obviously not, but when you bring food into the equation,
You're not even making any sense at all. no
called
one is
ass
going to
food.
be thinking she shits from that ass, unless that's your own personal kink.
For some, that would be a pro.
Yeah. So this is another one of those things where their audience is just dying of old age.
That's not millennials.
Here's how gross Hooters is. BL was the second hired fucking employee. And she still can't find that tip of her finger.
God.
All right, give us another one.
Millennials are killing mayonnaise.
Oh, bullshit.
I'll tell you, as a millennial right now, I eat a lot of mayonnaise.
Me
That's-
too. I
it's
feel
not
like
true.
I'm keeping it afloat personally.
We even
So,
have different mayonnaise flavors now.
So where are they, or where are people not eating mayonnaise? I mean, where is this drop taking place?
There, according to Business Insider, mayonnaise industry is down a lot, and they blame it on the fact that millennials are like more health conscious or something.
Yeah, I mean,
But
when
I
you
just don't
think
think it's
about
true.
it, one mayonnaise was sold as a salad dressing for 40 years. You would just take a big scoop of mayonnaise, throw it on your fucking salad.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. Well, it's doable, Chris. You don't have to hold back. But I'm seriously considering the fact that people, even though they eat mayonnaise, do they eat a lot less? And that's probably true.
Right.
I mean, women are not on the mayonnaise train.
That's true.
Men are.
Yeah. I joined your train, essentially. I hopped aboard.
Well, you've always been, pretty fluid when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Fluid with my gender and fluid with mayonnaise. Both.
You're out with the girls. Extra mayonnaise? Extra mayonnaise? Extra mayonnaise? Can I get a side of mayonnaise with that?
I use mayonnaise on my fries. That's my preferred.
Oh, sure. You're from Belgium. Belgium, I called it instead of Belgium. Chris, can I move over and sit next to you on the dunce stool? Thank you.
No, stay over there.
Wow. That was fucking aggressive.
You're
yeah.
not a dunce.
It's sexual too.
Yeah.
Like it was like sexually
Yeah, I know.
aggressive.
Look who wants to be daddy now. Can you imagine the way he talks to that fucking Costa Rican? How many times there's some kind of ethnic slur
Oh, my God.
he chucks at her?
Oh no, you don't do that, do you?
No.
All right, next up, millennials are killing napkins.
I only really use paper towels.
No, I grab a lot of I dig into the napkin dispenser and pull out as many napkins as I possibly can because I don't like.
That's great for the rest of us. Thanks, Vito.
You're an asshole.
What's their beef with napkins? Let's get the official thing.
So the official thing is that millennials are much more concerned about the environment, and so they don't run through napkins. They use hand towels, or they would prefer to use the hand dryer if they're in a public space.
Hand dryers are disgusting. I refuse to use them.
I like the one that you put your hands in. That one's fun. The oven mitt one.
I feel like I'm gonna get stuck.
Somebody walks in.
I think it's funny that Chris says they're disgusting because I've never seen him at the sink. I've never seen him
That
at the
was so
sink, and I've
gross.
never seen him at the urinal.
So that means he shits and doesn't wash his hands.
He
is what You're
shits,
telling me.
walks out while he's wiping his fucking hands on his pants.
No.
I might have happened once or
That's
twice.
so gross. I actually had a bad experience with a hand dryer not too long ago, so I'm kind of been avoiding them, and I prefer napkins once again because I went to a public restroom, and I swear to God, I think that someone stuck a tampon up there
Oh.
because it like shot disgusting tampon air. And I couldn't get the smell off my hand.
Filthy women. By the way,
24 hours.
I don't consider those. I think those are paper towels and not napkins in there anyway.
Yeah, those are paper towels.
You wouldn't call that a napkin?
No, but if I even think of it at home, I have paper towels. But when I was younger, you would get like a
Right.
package of napkins. You know, that was,
The square, not,
Yeah.
a paper towel's rectangle.
right. Well, paper towels you tear off. You don't tear off a fucking napkin.
Well, according to the Business Insider who had written the initial article, I think it also has to do with how much they use napkins when they're out at restaurants. So they don't just like grab 100 of them and chuck them out because they're environmentally conscious.
Well, other than fast food, you don't have a chance to go get your nap. If you're getting a napkin somewhere, you're fucking eating disgusting food. But if you're at a restaurant, you get the one fucking napkin and it's cloth.
All right. Millennials are killing beer. Specifically, I think they're talking about big brewing companies like Budweiser.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming. The fucking craft beer thing.
Yeah,
which
we split up the market.
People do not have a beer that they're loyal to. And at one point, that a beer defined you as much as the style of music that you listen to. You know what I mean? If you ran into somebody and they were a Slits person, you're like, oh, I'm with some kind of a dirtbag.
White trash weirdo.
But yeah, Budweiser was middle of the road, just a good, normal person. Pabst Blue Ribbon, hi Earl. And any kind of low and brow Heineken. You're a little hoity-toity about yourself. You saw yourself as a man of the world.
My dad was a Meisterbrow man, which I'm not sure what that means because I don't think they make it anymore.
No, they don't. I guess it was German and it did not have the longest run.
But I remember him just pounding Meisterbrows when I was a kid. Drank one once, was not very good.
My dad and all my uncles were Miller High Life guys.
Of course they were.
Champagne beers.
Yeah. Earl, the Gene.
My father was Budweiser. He's still the Budweiser.
Of course he is. He's a middle of the road guy. When you say Bud. The amount of fucking beer commercials that used to run was unbelievable. And now, how often you see the stupid Corona fucking Christmas commercial every year? And same one.
Yeah, and then I guess Bud Light has a big one at the Super Bowl every year. And then
Dilly Dilly was their first big thing in a few years, though. I'd say it's been since the What's Up thing. That was their last big.
Like you got slapped down,
What
Chris
the
Stanley.
Nah, you didn't think of that dilly, did you?
All he started to do was vaping. As soon as someone else has a fact, and rather than be in a conversation, he just starts to vape quickly, like I've been exposed.
In Three Identical Strangers, the big question was, what beer do you all drink when they're on the stage?
Yeah.
There was cigarettes and beer, to see if they all had the same personality.
And most young people drank the same beer and the same cigarettes.
Yeah.
And smoked the same cigarettes. That goes to show you how the hype machine was running right away. Oh, you all cross your legs? So do people who fucking sit next to each other.
But the millennials are killing Bud Light, not because the IPA thing is so huge right now.
Well, I think that they've just spread out the industry.
Yeah,
like I don't think that there's just a couple beers. It's just like there's way too many. I would be curious to see if people are actually drinking less beer as a whole.
I will say this: you will see more men drinking wine than I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
That's
I mean,
for
that
sure.
used to be pretty effeminate. You know what I mean? Like, it was a rare thing for a guy to say, I'll have a glass of wine. Ever.
That is weird because it's definitely not that way anymore.
No.
When did that happen? Was that the aughts?
What's that?
Was that in the aughts? Like, is this a recent?
No, I think the wine tasting thing has been 20 some years in the making, and now we're even past that where people are just like, I'm not going to drink much. I'm going to have a glass of wine, because if you start to drink a lot of wine, you fucking know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's also a way, the wine tasting was a way, like Sideways blew it up really big. Yeah. But it's like a way to spend an afternoon, and you're just not a scumbag drinking.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we're going out. These three couples are going out, and we're going to wine taste, and they're going to make the food along with it. Like, this wine goes best. Fuck you, man. That's the stupidest thing ever.
I hate wine tastings, and they're almost as much as the meal if you're like at an expensive restaurant.
Absolutely. You double the price of your meal.
Fuck that.
You could actually spend more on wine.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in any restaurant and you go, I have $1,500. You got a bottle of wine? We absolutely do.
Just for you.
They might only sell it once a year, but that fucker's sitting there.
Millennials are also killing DUIs.
Pussies. I do a thing on stage where I see how many people have never been drunk behind the wheel. And it's always young people, and it never occurred to them to
ever even just
drink and
get
drive.
on there.
Yeah. You guys aren't even sober and drive, so I don't even know where to start with you. This is the thing. But
Yeah.
when I was younger, if you couldn't drink and drive, you were called a name for a sexual minority.
Sexual minority.
I've seen people have keys yanked out of their hands before, but I never saw anybody make the decision not to drive.
Yeah, anyone who's they want to do it. They think they can.
Everyone always thought that they could drink and drive. Thought they were good at it. And it is an exciting, interesting way to spend the night. It does add a little bit of drama to your life. It's an extreme sport. That's the way I look at it.
It really is.
There's also millennials are killing middle children.
Because they're not having 3?
Yes, they're not interested. 2 is the max for most of the young millennial families. They're not interested in baby number 3.
I think that if you go above 2 now, people look at you like you're some kind of a
How could you do that?
fucking weirdo.
It definitely. I mean, certainly in the city, people act like you're crazy. Like you must be a crazy person.
Right.
3 of close age is weird. Like I get when it's like 2, you have 2, and then like a few years
And
later,
then an
you're
accident?
like, let's go for this baby thing again. But like 3 kids close in age, and you're dealing with all that stress at the same time.
I disagree. I say you want to get it. You want to get it done. You know what I mean? You just want to say that's it.
There's pros to that. What they say with like childcare is like doing it all at once.
Well, I mean, there is pros to it, and you have the older parent syndrome. So like I came after those first 2 by 7 years or something like that. But my mom started having kids at 20 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Like I had an old dad and he was like 33 or what. I don't know what the fuck he was. But you know what I'm saying? Like if you're a man and you're starting in your fucking late 30s or 40s, the next one, if you do what Vito is saying, you come along in your 50s.
Yeah.
And you start to go, how many summers I got left here? I don't have the knees.
Yeah, if you're older, you definitely want to do rapid succession. You're going to want to do like as soon as you're able to. Let's get this over with. Millennials are killing boxes. They're killing boxes.
We're using Amazon more than anybody's ever used
That's what
shipping
I'm
before.
saying. I think it's horrible what's going on with that.
Yeah, no, it's bad. Like I was looking in my building's box like delivery area, and it's insane right now. Like you can't even step into the area. It's just fucking filled to the brim. There's boxes stacked up outside.
I love that you don't even have the balls to call that a lobby. You can only call it an area.
Well, no, they have a lobby and then they have a little room for packages.
Do you live near Lincoln Center?
Yeah, I live like 3-4 blocks away.
Those kind of buildings that you all see there?
They all look alike on 66. Yeah,
I was thinking about
they
you.
They look like project buildings, but they're not.
Yeah. Yes, I know exactly where you live then, because I was driving past there not too long ago, and I'm like, I bet Vito lives in one of those fucking places.
So growing up, because it's like they look like project buildings and it's a Jewish neighborhood, kids would call it the Jew projects.
So you literally live in the buildings that they ripped down from West Side Story.
Yeah, the scene where they're like standing on rubble is those buildings.
You were on top of you went in that rubble area.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start to call you Barney Rubble then.
Cute.
I think I have a picture of my dad on top of the Lincoln Center, like rubble. Like they put it in, like they did a display of like the building of Lincoln Center, and they put my dad's picture in of like him in the construction.
You
of
must
Lincoln
be
Center.
so proud.
It was.
This is the first time I'm gonna agree when Vito yelled bullshit. I do feel like there's more delivery, more boxes
It's scary.
than ever.
Yeah.
What reason are they given?
Let's see. The reasoning that they're giving is okay. This is why it's boxes. It's not cardboard boxes. It's thinking outside the box and identifying. I was like sitting here like that's bullshit. There's been a box crisis.
So now we're being told none of them think inside the box?
Yeah, like the idea is that everything is outside of the box. Like there's no identifying yourself in a specific way or category, like putting things into categories.
But don't they all because if you look at startups, they all have the same exact vibe in their offices of the whole think outside the box. Let's do offices differently.
Every one of their fucking offices looks the same.
Exactly. They all look the same. I've been to Facebook, Google, and Indeed, and they all have the same exact, they have Lego areas for the coders to go play around. They have scooters for people to get around. There's beer in the fridge.
It's a cliche now. It's literally a cliche. And by the way, who wants to fucking play with Legos during work? You know what? I'd rather get my work done and go home. I don't want to fucking play ping pong.
Anytime you see a company do that shit, you know it's bad news. Because I think that it's always overcompensating. It's always I've noticed that some of my friends who work in the most brutal companies where so much is expected of them and they just feel like they are drained all the time, also have all these fun perks and benefits and little ping pong and all that kind of crap. And I think it's a red flag.
Well, that's the other interesting thing. These are all considered the great jobs, and they're a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a fucking coder? It's no different than if you worked on the line somewhere.
It's basically MySpace layouts.
Ugh.
Yeah, and now there's there's real actual physical issues that come with those jobs, for your eyes, for your back, working 12-hour days doing that kind of stuff can be physically harmful to you.
They actually have security to walk around and make sure there's no rope anywhere.
No belts are allowed in the fucking office.
Yeah, take your belts off.
Shoelaces.
Yeah. Everything about it looks like a fucking nightmare.
And the people are shitty too, because they think they're innovating things, but they're just making an app that some people are going to use.
Yeah, but even if your thing is a hit, 3 years later, someone's disrupting you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to even start. And if you work at Amazon, let's suppose you've been at Amazon for fucking 15 years. You've probably been in 7 different companies because that thing is changing so much all the fucking time that it just feels like, ugh. We've been taken over.
Again.
Yeah, again, Earl. You're right about that. Again. The millennials hate the Hard Rock.
Not this millennial.
Well, Earl's keeping it alive, brother.
We're working on it.
I know. Someday you might be able to work at BB King's.
If it comes back. They're still looking for a spot.
All right. The shirts are available, everybody. Chris is going to tell you how to get a Bennington t-shirt for Christmas.
The brand new Bennington t-shirt that's available now at ibangshop.com. Go to ibangshop.com for the brand new Bennington t-shirt.
All right, let's take a break here, kids. Why don't we do that? Earl, what are you doing this weekend? You got anything planned?
I will be at the Hard Rock this weekend.
All weekend?
All weekend.
Oh, I was going to take you out to dinner. I was going to fucking take you to a show. It's going to be really great. I was going to, at the end of the night, I was going to get a horse and carriage. Me and you were going to go around Central Park. Wouldn't that have been great? God damn it.
You ruined it.
God damn our life. Well, you know what? He's got to work that millennial thing. Those 2 fucking gigs. It's a gig culture, Vito. You know that as well as anyone. What are you doing over the weekend? Chelsea Pierce?
No, I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for a little, and then I have a birthday party to go to, not to work.
What, 4-year-old? He becomes friends with a lot of people from Chelsea.
I like to keep them in my lives.
Yeah. But way to give away the thing that we are recording everything over the Christmas break. We're going to have all new shows for you, and then, of course, we do the year in comedy. That runs when December 31st and January 1st?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
All is quiet on New Year's Day. We'll be right back from break. It's Bennington. Beep, beep. Bennington Show on a Friday. Coming up in just a little bit, it's the Elliott family. They've got a movie out, Clara's Ghost, in select theaters now. available on demand and digital. Gail, were you a fan of this movie?
I was a big fan. I think it's it's kind of a perfect indie film. I think, it's got all the elements.
All right, so we've got Chris Elliott, Bridie Elliott, his daughter, and the director of this film. And then we have his wife, Paula, Jim the Anvil Neidhart Elliott. So it's Paula Neidhart?
Neidhart.
I would have went the other way. I'm old school Hart Foundation, and I want to know who screwed Brett. But we don't have the other sister,
Abby.
Abby Elliott is on the West Coast. Very, very talented family. I'm going to say America's new talented family. There's been others. The Barrymores were the first. The Barrymores went
way back.
Yeah, from John Barrymore, pre-talkies, all the way up to Drew Barrymore, Little Gertie. Little Gertie and E.T. I think maybe the best kids role I ever saw in my life. Certainly the best two kids in one movie. Gail, who's your feeling about who America's most talented family is?
I think that you have to go with the Coppolas.
Oh,
because you've got so much going on there. You got the Francis Ford, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Sophia following in the father's footsteps. You've got Nick Cage married into the family.
No. He did not marry into the family. He's a Coppola. He changed his name to Cage.
That's right.
Yeah.
So who's the married in? Is that Schwartzman married into that family?
No,
or he's related?
No, Schwartzman is the
cousin.
Talia Shire, who
Right.
she was Talia Coppola. So he's basically the grandson of, not basically, he is Francis. And don't forget that Francis's father did all the music from The Godfather.
Carmine.
Carmine Coppola. So that family, but let's be honest, it seems to have stopped now. There's no new blood,
Yes. I mean, Sophia needs to, have an heir. It's important.
Well, she's had so much trouble with that Spike Jones.
But I feel like that's a good eclectic. If you just take all of their bodies of work and throw it in, I feel like that's a massive.
Oh no, that's fantastic. Yeah. What about the whole Judy Garland clan?
Oh yes, so it's Judy Garland, Liza
Minnelli, and then their father, Vincent Minnelli, is one of the great directors of all time, and Lorna Luff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's like perfect old Hollywood family too.
But I'm going to give you this one. The Fondas. You got Henry Fonda, Academy Award winner, Jane Fonda, Academy Award winner, and then of course Peter Fonda, the man who all but invented the independent blockbuster, and then Bridget Fonda, who I think is Peter's daughter, and then she married the guy, the composer, the guy from Oingo Boingo.
Danny Elfman?
Yeah, Danny Elfman is married. And then when she married Danny Elfman, you never saw Bridget Fonda again. Off she went. Okay, I'm Mrs. Danny Elfman now. I've kind of always...
She should still be working. I love Bridget Fonda.
Me too, and I got a little beef with Danny Elfman. I kind of feel like he's a little bit of a 1950s husband. I'm making that up, of course. But there's a thing in my mind where I meet Bridget and I go, you got to get back out there again. This is your world. You got to lean in, as they tell the young ladies today. Lean in. Get it all.
I like that he's just no wife of mine is going to be out there where I put an end to the Fondas.
Right. I wrote the fucking Simpsons theme. You know what I mean? I'm the one who puts bread on this table, baby.
The Arquettes, it's one generation.
No.
Oh, it's not?
There was, I think the dad was the actor because he was Beans. Beans. Don't even get me talking about Beans from the Chris Elliott.
Fantastic.
And so all the children, did stuff. But then they were I think their grandfather, and I can't think of his name right now, but he used to be the old guy on Hollywood Squares. This is a real Fez Whatley.
Yeah, that's his wheelhouse,
Fez
man.
was fans of everybody on the Hollywood Squares. So see if you can get the regulars, the 1960s Hollywood Squares. And I believe as soon as I hear the name, I'll know it.
Cliff Arquette?
What's that?
Cliff Arquette?
No, that's the dad. Instead of jumping into it, go to the Hollywood Squares and just look for the regulars. He tried to. So Cliff Arquette was the guy who was in the Christopher Guest and of course many other stuff.
Nanette.
No. See the old guy with the suspenders?
Yeah.
What's his name?
That is Charlie Weaver.
Charlie Weaver. See if he is related to the Arquettes.
Okay.
I believe I knew that at one time. He's definitely related to somebody. Oh no, Sigourney Weaver. That's who he's related to. So let's put the Sigourney Weaver family as number one.
That's number one?
Yeah.
With Alien.
What about and I mean, these kids, they pulled themselves up from their Long Island bootstraps, and they've turned the world around, but the Baldwins.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There was a time that, like, I would say you'd have to put Baldwin at number one. It just felt like they were a force to be reckoned with.
I called them for a long time the Long Island acting Beatles.
I didn't even know they were from Long Island, and now everything makes so much sense to me about them.
Punching everybody instead of talking it out.
They're the most Long Island family.
Yeah, they are. I can't imagine how often they hit each other. Now, do you consider like the married couple to be the family, or it's got to be blood? You know what I mean?
I think that the married couple counts, but you have to also have blood relation. So, for example, like
you got to marry your own sister.
No, I'm saying
no. You said it, Gail.
I never said that. I do not support.
This is why Tumblr's disappearing.
No, I'm saying, so if a married couple are both in show business, you have to produce then a next generation, and then I'll throw both of them in there.
I'm saying no one beating the Elliots right now. The Elliots are the top of the food chain.
I think that they're up there with their unique humor.
How about Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn and their daughter, Kate Hudson?
Oh, that's only part of that acting family.
Yeah, Kate's father was a Mark Hudson. Yeah,
he was a Hudson brother. What I called the American Beatles for quite some time. But Kurt's son, and I guess it's with Goldie.
Wyatt Russell
is fantastic.
Yeah, seriously,
he's the he's got the funniest fucking show out there right now. Which I guess we'll have to figure out once we get to the TV section when we do the year-end thing. But that Lodge fucking whatever it is,
49,
Lodge 49, it's fucking hilarious show. And then also her brother, Kate's brother, is in a TV show now.
Oliver Hudson. He's on Splitting Up together with Jenna Fisher from The Office.
Oh, they're huge then.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah. Kurt's dad had a minor league baseball team that had a documentary written about it.
That counts.
Goldie and Kate, I believe, are the mother-daughter ass of all time. A very famous person asked me to pull something that he said about them. He said that Goldie had, I believe he said, all of a sudden ass was the name of it.
Out of nowhere ass?
No, that's too stupid. But it was like a thin top and then all of a sudden ass. Back to the thin legs. That's
what you want.
They may be, and what I like about them is, Kate was with Chris Robinson. I mean, they keep us, they're full celebrities.
Yeah.
There's always something for everybody with them.
Kate Hudson's had crazy celebrity dating history.
Oh, yeah. She's, made Owen Wilson dive out of a fucking window onto a razor blade.
God, no.
The butterscotch stallion lost his shit.
He's never had a good day since he broke up with her.
Nope.
No, you're right. Things got really dark after that.
Yeah, they got ugly. And what about that family?
Wilsons.
Yeah, the Wilsons.
Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, and then
Future
they
Man.
Future Man.
Future Man, who I think is the best Wilson.
And what about their mom, Wes Anderson?
Progressive.
All right, I have another one for you. What about the Bridges? Lloyd Bridges and his fabulous Baker Boys.
Can I tell you something? There's nothing better than that family. I love every single, and I believe that Lloyd Bridges was the number one dad. And I think he proved that on Seinfeld. You think you're better than me? Lloyd Bridges of Sea Hunt fame. I'm going to give you one that is almost a working class, keep their head down, keep their nose clean, Hollywood family, 3 generations. And that's the Howard family. Ron Howard.
Oh, yes.
His daughter.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
And then their dad was an actor. And also Ron Howard's brother is a great character actor.
Cliff or Clint?
Clint, yeah.
They might win it all.
Yeah.
That's
and
3
you're right.
generations
They do
that
keep
have just delighted America.
Yeah, they do keep it clean. I feel like there's no scandal behind that one.
You don't get the full service celebrity out of them. Like everyone's like, oh no, they're normal people.
Mine is
here comes a black family.
no, it's not a
the
black
Wayans.
Exes.
well, the Wayans was actually a really good pick.
They're still going strong. CBS sitcom.
What are you saying, the Jacksons?
Jackson's also the
The Smiths.
Houston, John Houston.
John Huston, his father
Walter
Houston won a
Academy
Award. John Huston, did he win one?
I believe he won one
for writing?
I think he won for the same movie, for A Treasure Sierra Madre.
And then, of course, their daughter, his daughter.
Angelica. And Danny is a good character actor.
Oh, yeah, there's that whole Danny Houston. And then the half Hulk face from Boardwalk Empire is a Houston. The one who wore the mask on his face.
Oh, yeah.
Now considered to be the most attractive man in the Western Hemisphere. Women love that fucking dude.
Once we got that mask off.
Oh, yeah. It's the mask that had everybody freaked out, but he takes the mask off, and he's old school 1930s handsome.
Yeah, he has the jaw for that.
Yeah. What about the Cumia family? They're all great singers.
Yes. They stay in the news.
What about the Stanley family? You just have one, and that's it. The rest die.
That's good.
Family of one.
Well, maybe.
What about you know what I just remembered is what about the Carradines?
Well, you had Kung Fu and then their father David Carradine has done I think it's David Carradine, right?
David, Keith, and
yeah, but the father was a great horror actor for many, many years.
Oh God,
John Carradine?
It may be.
Yeah, it was John Carradine.
And Barbara Hershey was the mother.
What are you talking about?
Oh, no, that's
Get away from there, dude. You're off the fucking computer. Barbara Hershey was whose mother?
I was about to say David Carradine's mother. That would have made no sense.
She's younger. You shouldn't even be touching any of that.
Oh my God. But Martha Plimpton is a Carradine, too. She's related. Yeah.
What?
Get the fuck out of here.
I can't remember who's her dad, but one of the Carradine situations.
You're lying right now.
Somebody Google it. I'm pretty sure.
We
Martha
have no
Plimpton-
one that can do that. Chris is sitting in front of. He's claiming that Barbara Hershey.
Keith Carradine is Martha Plimpton's.
I had no idea of
Me
that.
neither.
She must be the most humble person alive. Not to bring that up. Wait, are you sure it's the same Keith Carradine?
Yes. It's the same Keith Carradine.
Yeah, there he is, Keith Carradine, who is now the President of the United States on Madam Secretary.
He's doing well.
Also won an Oscar for singing and writing a song. I'm Easy.
It was at Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. Well, we As much as we've tried, we can't come up with any family that's more talented than the Elliots.
No.
Even with this surprise, illegitimate baby, Martha Plimpton.
No idea.
I had zero idea that. And she, you think of the Carradines so West Coast. I think of her as one of the great New Yorkers.
Yeah, me too. I saw her on the street and was with an idiot who was like, "Oh, you're from the Goonies." It was a horrible moment. And
It wasn't Jack, was it?
No, of course not. No, this
I don't
is like
know.
I was
I mean, I
in
saw you
college.
keeping it secret. How did she handle it?
Well, I had to, she looked like a little weirded out, and I had to step in because I wish I could remember what she was doing at the time, but she
Probably
was doing
play.
something on Broadway, and I was like, "Oh, Martha!" Like I had to say her name because he was like, "The Goonies," right? He was an idiot. He was such an idiot.
I hate to be around fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's bad.
I hope you stop being friends with that person.
I did.
I still don't
did.
even know if that's enough. This has stained your reputation.
Physically hurt them?
Remember when Chris thought the barber Hershey was dead? Why would you say that? Where did that even come from?
It actually made me
Is Barbara
nervous to bring up.
Hershey, related to anyone?
No. She was married to David Carradine, but I misread parents on the Wikipedia. There's a
Wait
long
a minute.
list.
She was married to Kung Fu?
From 1969 to 1975.
I did not know that.
No, we're learning a lot.
So you saw her name and just yelled
You
it
saw
out,
that
and then you
she's
said it
the
was her
mother.
mother.
I misread.
It literally says partner.
I misread partner as parent.
Oh my god! It made me nervous to bring up the Martha Plimpton thing.
I know. Was it Chris that was with you on the street? Goonies, right?
Yes.
Is she related to the Hershey family?
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
One time I remember she changed her name to Seagull because she was in a movie and a seagull died. And she named herself after that. Seagull. I guess legally. I don't know. The fuck am I in? With the fucking Court of Appeals now?
Let me see some documentation on that.
The Sheens and Estevezes. That's like two or three generations.
It's the same family. The Sheens are the Esteves.
He changed his name.
And that's one generation. What the hell was that, Chris?
That was an alarm that went off for some reason
Where?
on my phone.
Give me that phone. I'm throwing it out the fucking window.
Please don't. I need it.
Do you? Because you don't even fucking answer it.
I didn't know Martin Sheen's real name was Ramon.
Ramon! Well, his first name is Ramon. He's Ramon Estevez. I like the way some of the kids went to Sheen, some of the kids went to Estevez. It doesn't even fucking make sense. They're just crazy as shit.
Ramon
Fucking family.
Estevez is a cool name.
I know. Ramon! Get in here.
See, would Dylan count? Bob Dylan?
No.
You got Bob Dylan, you got Jacob, and his son is a director.
Doesn't count.
No?
No. Sorry. Cannot count the Dylans. Remember, Earl, you're here to bring up black families. Very few. Very few black families.
Wayans, Smiths.
Smiths
Wayans are all one generation, though.
No,
No.
Who's Mr.
As far as
Wayans?
talent,
yeah,
Damon
because
Jr. is
far-
working now.
Damon Jr.'s, yeah.
as far as talent goes, I mean.
I kept thinking there were multiple, then I remember just the brothers and sisters are just really different ages. Like
There were 10 of them. Like
Marlon and Keenan are the same generation, even though I look at them as different.
What about Eddie and Charlie Murphy? Is that working for anybody? I mean, I put that up there before the fucking Dylan family. Which I guarantee you, Bob doesn't remember anybody in his family. I don't even think he has permanent residence. And that's part of what you have to do to be a family, is to know where to find each other. Anyway, the Elliots are coming up next. Are we breaking or going right into it?
We're going to go right into it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What can we bring them into? What was a song from the movie, Gail?
Well, very heavily featured, very funny moment with Hey There, Georgie Girl.
What a crazy, great, weirdo song.
Such a weird song, and it's such a weird scene with the mother singing the song. It's just too weird.
I know. It is so weird, this thing, and it's like there were places that I found myself laughing really hard. But Chris Elliott, the Chris Elliott Unmasked, if I'm running an interview, I can't be over laughing. Right?
Yeah.
Because then no one's in charge. And it's just, you know what I mean?
Chaos.
You got to wait until I come back from my fucking asset laugh to restart. So I'm trying not to laugh. But Chris Elliott might be the funniest human, and all of his stories are uncomfortable. So I'm holding it in, right? And I literally heard and felt my rib cracking while I'm trying to hold back this belly laugh. And I saw white. I literally, everything whited out as I'm herking and jerking and trying not to explode in laughter. He's just one of the funniest of all time to me. And to see that he now has like a talented family, it's just, where's the talent in the Letterman family, if you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't see them putting out an independent film. What do I want to see? Dave sit there with a fucking long beard talking to Obama for an hour and 25 minutes? What are we possibly getting? We know Obama.
And what has Harry Letterman ever done with his life?
He's just coasting.
Wouldn't you, though?
Yeah.
You've been through what he is. I hope that he has his own little tie-on beard so when he goes out with his dad. This is my father. Oh, is he a prospector? No, he was one of the biggest talk show hosts in the history of the country. Really? Because I thought I recognized him from Buster Scruggs. After he got that vein and got shot. Man, I'm sorry about that. That was a spoiler alert out of nowhere. All right, so this film, Clara's Ghost, is the entire Elliott family, and then also Haley Joel Osment, who is really, really funny in this, and has really picked up his career as a character actor as he's gone into adulthood. He's done very, very well for himself.
Yeah, he's a very talented dude and very likable. When he came in, I was like, I adore Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, he's great. All right, so this is Clara's Ghost. Select theaters now, on demand and digital. And coming up, it's the Elliott family.
Hey there, Georgie girl, swinging down the street so fancy-free. Nobody you meet could ever see the loneliness there inside you. Hey there, Georgie girl, why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try, or is it the clothes you wear? You're always window shopping but never stopping to buy. So shed those dowdy feathers and fly a little bit. Hey there, Georgie girl, there's another Georgie deep inside. Bring out all the love you hide, and oh, what a change there'd be.
Bridie Elliott, Paula Neidert Elliott, and Chris Elliott are in studio with us. Clara's Ghost is playing now in select theaters and is available on demand and digital.
You know, it's great to see another family band. This is the only way to travel.
That's right. I'm usually in a snug like that too. Oh my gosh,
she is adorable.
So sweet.
Bridie, first of all, congratulations. This is an amazing thing to pull off for a first film.
Thank you so much.
And you took it to Sundance?
Took it to Sundance, yeah.
You know what I think is amazing? This really is like an independent film. You could have done this much more traditional, much easier of a concept for everybody to get. But you got weird with it.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, it was always written that way. It was meant to be kind of a specific, intimate night with a certain family, and we shot it in our house, and a lot of things I think just came organically with shooting with my own family, and being in the space that we've danced in and gotten drunk in, and carried on in. So yeah, there was a real rawness to everything.
Did anybody in the family said, "Wait, let's pull back a little bit. My character's coming on."
You've seen the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think. No, I don't think we pulled back at all.
No.
And
yeah.
I think,
No,
I
we
mean,
ramped it up.
yeah, well, definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
I mean, all the characters, my two daughters and myself, especially, are just heightened negative, versions of ourselves. And
sure.
Paula's character is different. Paula is actually acting in the movie. The rest of us are ourselves.
You're kind of the lone character.
Yeah, I
and
guess
you go
so.
off into your own kind of trip throughout that.
Right.
And that's where the movie, I think, really gets strange. Why?
I think Clara really needs a friend, and she finds it in this ghost who lived in the house. And the ghost was actually like inspired by a real ghost of the house who lived there, who was like this woman who was, deemed crazy and did some like outlandish things in that town. And she lived at our house. And so there was a lot pulling from reality.
Well, the family home is like a character. It's a very, is it that dark and frightening as it is in the movie?
Kind of is, but that's what we like.
Depends on how
Yeah.
much we drink.
Well, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the house.
Yeah.
The set people added some elements that, we don't have a dead pheasant, a stuffed pheasant
No,
on
but
our wall.
my parents have always kind of set dressed, I'd say, our houses. We've always had like slightly themed weird houses and antiques that, have kind of haunted my dreams since I was a kid. Like
We
that
wanted-
night puppet in the corner.
We
I
wanted
finally
you
got
to be
like
scared.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We wanted you to have a frightening childhood.
Well, because of the intimacy of it feels very much like a play too, because the way the house is, and maybe also just like the intimacy of one night. It's very
Yeah.
Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Yeah,
That's
right.
exactly what you were influenced
Yes,
by that.
and Long Day's Journey into Night,
Right.
which the actual Eugene O'Neill house is very close by. But yeah, it was meant to feel that way.
Well, then also you could say, hey, this is like this time capsule of our life when drinking was still fun.
Oh,
You know what I mean? You
God,
can
yeah.
look back on that someday.
Yeah.
I think we're already looking back on it. I think it's run its course.
Well, you guys raised the kids away from the city and away from the business, and now the kids are in the business.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we always knew they were going to be. I mean,
We tried
You couldn't
to
do anything
convince
else.
them to,
Pretty much.
pursue something else.
Well,
but
we
yeah,
gave them
it
the
wasn't gonna
opportunity
happen.
to, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
think
did.
we never pushed them to go into it, or I don't think we ever told you not to go into it either.
No. Yeah.
And they've seen the ups and downs in my career, and they went into it, and they also know that it's a lot harder on women than it is on guys in the business.
Sure.
So, for me, it was like kind of a, okay, I know what happens here. But they've both done great. And Paula, who started her career as an actress and then went into the talent department at Letterman. That's where we met each other. This is the first time you've acted in a long time, and you are amazing in the movie. And the family dynamic that we have as a family, I think helped the characters, for sure.
Well, Paula, you really are like the star of this film, and you have an acting partner. More or less, most of the scenes that you play is not really with the family, but tell everybody who it's with.
The ghost.
The ghost, yeah.
Yes. And I described her as the ghost of my potential that I was seeking.
Yeah.
She's so adorable. And I brought her into me and got stronger with the
But for the fact that you haven't worked for a lot of years, that was more, in front of the camera, that had to be somewhat risky for you too, right?
I was terrified that I wouldn't remember the lines, and somehow it came together. But I told her that she could fire me.
She took lessons with an acting coach of mine in the city who's wonderful, Heidi.
Because I was afraid of the romantic scenes with Haley Joel, because it just couldn't be further from who I am to do that. And I said, I just feel so awkward about it. And she said, life is awkward, embrace awkward. It'll work out, so I did.
Yeah, you really are doing those scenes with a kid that we all watch grow up.
Yeah, I know.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
But he doesn't see the ghost in the movie.
No one sees the ghost.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's the close to like a regular person in the entire movie. So we kind of see it.
And in real life.
Yeah. Which is really shocking.
Yeah.
That guy has not turned out terrible.
No, he's so sweet.
Normally in a movie, a drug dealer shows up and they're the weird person.
Right.
And this one is like the most stable person.
Yeah. Right.
My sister did have a wedding at our my parents' house like the summer before, or 2 summers before, and Haley starred in a movie with my sister that her husband, my sister's husband, my brother-in-law, wrote. And so I saw at the wedding, Haley kind of partying with us, and I was like, oh, Haley. It just kind of clicked that, he should be in this movie. He's like family.
Now, of course, your grandfather was one of the funniest people who ever lived. And I always think it's interesting about your family. There's these 3 generations of comedy, but it's all different kinds of comedy, which is... It's like staying in the same business, but everybody being in a completely different business.
Yes, totally.
Was that a conscious thing on your part? It was with me, with my dad. I didn't, I had a chance, I could have maybe gone into radio, which is where he made his bones.
Sure.
But I didn't want to do exactly what he did.
Yeah. I don't know if it was conscious or not. Mm-hmm. I knew that I knew when Abby got on SNL, it was sort of like, wow, like, I guess everyone should go on SNL. I should try to do that now. And then, so there was a bit of like a existential thing when she was on there of like, is that really what I want to do? And I've never really felt like just an actor, honestly, not that Abby's just an actor, but to be in sketch comedy, you really have to turn up a certain part of your brain that just is in it. And
right.
And I think I have too many thoughts, and I'm directing and writing as I'm acting. Right. So yeah, it wasn't so much conscious as like an evolution, because I started doing stand up. It was kind of my first creative venture out in the real world after theater school. So yeah,
I think the thing that we do have in common is, including Bob Elliott, your grandfather, is that we all sort of created.
I thought Ray was my grandfather.
I always get the two of them. I get the two of them confused.
Gotta do the joke. You gotta do the joke.
You gotta. I think we've all sort of developed our own stuff. My dad, I know, did, sort of created stuff that kind of went against the norm, maybe, that wasn't, what other people were doing at the same time. Not that we're the most original people in the whole wide world, but that I think that's where we're similar. We're all comfortable in that.
Rebellion.
In
the fringe.
Rebellion.
Yeah, in the fringe.
Yeah.
Something on the fringe. And,
sure.
Papa, your grandfather had, an incredible, following. But it would be considered a cult following, and I certainly am happy with having, the small cult following that I have.
Well, I always thought like Bob and Ray were like the Christopher Guest group of their time. Yeah. And, is one thing to say is it casts a shadow of you guys, it casts a shadow of me. Anyone who steps in front of a microphone, I'm still trying to figure those guys out after all these years.
Right.
A lot of that shouldn't be funny.
No, a lot of it shouldn't, and that's why it is.
Yeah.
That was their take on things. It's just the mundane, the silly, the even
Details, unnecessary
details of the boring details they made funny,
Right.
because they were saying them, and again, and we've talked about this, they were also just trying to crack each other up.
Sure.
That was that was the joy of them,
And
watching them work.
I don't have a lot of memories of them breaking either, though. You know, they stayed
they
in.
would, the cough button was pushed a few times while somebody was chortling, but they were getting their engineer laughing and everybody else.
Although I like at a young age, I remember hearing, I think it's Ray comes on as a poet, and it's like
Charles
to
the
read
poet.
to read his poem,
Yes,
but he can never get over it. Like he can never get through his poem without laughing. And Papa's just like,
Charles.
too bad. Shane can't get through his really serious poem without laughing.
The rose is
Really like the
Bridie Elliott, Paula Nider Elliott, and Chris Elliott are in studio with us. Clara's Ghost is in theaters today and on demand and digital HD tomorrow.
And there really isn't a way to describe this film to people. You know what I mean? You just have to run into it and just let it flow. But there's parts of it that are so like edgy, scary, and other parts. The MacArthur Park is one of the funniest things ever. Now, you said that you guys would dance around the house.
Yeah.
Was that always bad music, or was there some?
yeah. I mean, if that's bad music, then this is bad music. It's Les Mis.
Les Mis was a big
it's,
hit. We did a lot of that, and Godspell.
Godspell.
Yeah.
We love Broadway musicals.
Yeah.
Hair, Pippin.
Yeah.
It's really for how jaded these characters are. They love musicals, show tunes.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty non-judgmental of each other. There's an odd acceptance. There really is. You never worry that this family is going to kind of break apart because they accept how strange the whole thing is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, they're this dysfunctional family, and it's arguable that they are functional. They're just terrible people. They're functional and they support each other.
They definitely let each other take turns being the jealous one, which is interesting. Like, it's like, okay, I'm going to give you time to be jealous and upset, and then next I'm going to be very resentful.
Right.
Yes.
And they let each other attack each other without feeling hurt.
Right.
It bounces off them, except possibly the Clara character, who finally realizes. And I've been saying, it's a movie about being seen and not being seen, and it's like the daughters and the father are the actors who are being seen. The mother, who is the most important person in the family, has not been seen. In fact, there's a sequence with a photographer where he's taking pictures of us and asking the mom to step out of the picture. And I think that ultimately is sort of the theme of the movie.
Well, and she's also the butt of the jokes sometime, and that does happen in every family with mom. And I never really understand it, but there'll be that thing. Everybody's fooling around, and everyone's like, "Mom, please."
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Mom is a
you're right.
punchline for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay to make fun of mom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because she's going to love you no matter what.
Right.
Right.
That is true. That the love of a mother is always supposed to be unconditional, and a father's love comes and goes. Let's just be totally honest about that.
Based on your successes.
Right. Yep.
And then there's the sister dynamic, which is totally different from any other dynamic that you can have, because the sisters, to me, in every family, the sisters seem to be the ones that hold the family together as the years go by. As the parents are getting older, you can count on sisters. You can very rarely count on brothers. It just doesn't happen that way.
Right. No, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I come from a family of 3 sisters and a brother, and I would say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the sister characters, I think being in the same business is really tethers the daughters and the father together, but the sisters being women in this business. It's very specific experience. And I think that kind of, they have to be on each other's side.
Yeah.
Julia
is just, she runs our family now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Center.
She really is something else. I love her.
But
oh my gosh.
But isn't it funny how it ties in? Is like, yeah, just bring the kid to work. Yeah. And I think that is why people kind of like, that's the kind of business that you grow up around. Like if your father was a fisherman, the chances are you were out on boats.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Totally.
No, I mean, we were saying, I think we always knew. And it wasn't like these kids were constantly entertaining, and getting up and being the life of the party when they were little and all that. But you just knew. I also knew, especially with Bridie, maybe, that when she would watch something over and over again, or something would catch her interest on television and or a movie that caught her interest, that she was looking at it, from maybe the directing visual side of things as well. And that's something, I grew up, you saw Wizard of Oz once a year. And these kids grew up being able to watch something over and over again and study shots and study, takes and all that.
And like even know who the directors are, so you could spend a weekend looking at one director's work. None of that happened during our generation.
No, exactly. The movies were, It's a Wonderful Life, was miles away from other movies. It was like, okay, that's that movie. I never watched, things like you just said. A bundle.
Yeah.
And she had an amazing movie trivia brain too, that people would call and say, could you ask Bridie what that movie was, and she would know it.
Right.
At like age 12.
I think also there's this weird thing that, and I've done Bobby Kelly's show about creeps with kids. There's these weird things that comedians do, which is treat children like people. I think there's because there's an anti-bullshit thing for funny people. So very early on, comedians have a tendency to talk to little kids like they're adults.
Right.
And I think that if you happen to be into the arts, you know what I mean? If there's an appreciation for the arts, it makes a kid's life a lot more full.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think also, I think we did treat you guys that way. And I think also if we took you to see something, we would talk about it.
Right.
We would talk about whether we liked it or not, or whether it was stupid or whether
it was also, we lived in Connecticut in, Fairfield County area, which wasn't, it was like preppy. And I felt like our family always already felt like a bit outsiders, like weirdos of the town,
circus performers.
Yes. So there was, and I didn't know that many people with, actor. We didn't know a lot of other actor families growing up. So I think there was this nuclear camaraderie in our household of just like us against the world a little bit, we lived.
But I used to love talking about, going to see movies, and I especially loved it when we hated the movie because it was just more fun to talk about a bad movie, or than it was to talk about something that was so great.
Do you remember something that clicked for you, Bridie, when you were younger that you're like, this is really interesting to me?
I had a thing when I was younger about, I was really scared of movie theaters because I didn't like being in a room with strangers in a dark room. Made sense. And so I started watching horror movies kind of to compensate, like, well, I'm scared of that, but at least I can watch horror movies and that's cool. I'm 8 years old. And I watched Rosemary's Baby. Parents showed it to me. And, I immediately was just like, oh my God, this is a funny movie. And this movie has characters and this movie's interesting and more than just, it's not, a slashery. I'd never seen a horror movie like that. And kind of ultimately about family.
Right.
Too. Yeah. So that movie really was kind of showed me, oh, this is art.
It is like that last scene where you see her starting to accept it is absolutely hysterical as well as frightening.
Yes.
Well, so congratulations to you,
Thank you so
for
much.
doing this. I mean, it's an impossible thing to pull off, and you've done it. So that's just
thank you.
Great.
That's nice. It is true. That's absolutely true.
Bridie Elliott, Paula Neidert Elliott, and Chris Elliott. Clara's Ghost in theaters today, on demand, and digital HD tomorrow. Thank you guys so much.
Take care. See you next time.
Thanks. Yep.
Spring was never waiting for us, girl. It ran one step ahead as we followed in the dance. Between the parted pages and we're pressed in love's hot-fevered iron like a striped pair of pants. The spark is melting in the dark, all the sweet green icing flowing down. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't.
The wonderful Elliott family. Clara's Ghost is now available in select theaters. Love them, huh, Gail?
I adore them. That was so fantastic, and it's a great movie. I'm really happy for them.
Now, today is Friday, and Earl, how long have you been writing the Filtered Excellence for the iBank?
At least 5 years.
At least 5 years. All the time he was gone, he still wrote up Filtered Excellence. Chris, you read it every week?
I read most weeks, yes.
What was the one thing for you that really stood out over the years?
I think all the shows that he's...
What shows? What are you talking about? What is the specific thing that you've picked up from Filtered Excellence?
There was a show...
That's called being caught lying, Earl. I'm just pointing it out to you. There's a guy who does not read your thing, but says that he does. You put a lot of work into this every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun doing it, but it's a lot of work because you got to watch a lot of stuff, you got to listen to a lot of stuff, you got to really comb out and scout around not only what's happening here in the city, but also around the country as well.
Give me Filtered Excellence, and by the way, you can check this out on the ibang.com every week. Give me something you have for this week, girl. Obviously, I don't want to take your whole column, but give us a little taste.
I know you're a big fan of Jeff Beck.
I'm a giant fan of Jeff Beck.
And he has a documentary on his life coming out on Showtime on December 11th. Yes. It's called Still on the Run. And they are promising this is the most comprehensive look at his life and career. He's going to talk with not only with Jeff Beck, who gave full cooperation with it, but also a lot of his contemporaries. So,
is Rod Stewart going to be part of it?
Of course he is. I mean, it's going to be Rod Stewart. It's going to be Clapton. It's going to be Jimmy Page.
Or Bogart and a Piece going to come in for this?
I hope Bogart and a Piece, the one great record they made. But again, his love of hot rods, because he builds cars, and I'm psyched about it because I love Jeff Beck.
He's unbelievable,
and I'm surprised it's taken this long to have a full length documentary on his life.
I'm never sure who gets the documentary treatment and who doesn't. Gail, I want you to write and direct a documentary about my life.
Oh, I would love to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a very fascinating life. So.
I already have the perfect title for it.
What is it?
Bennington, Bogart, and a Piece. Well, I'll be watching. What is that on Netflix?
It is on Showtime on December 11th.
I don't get that. I cut the cable. December 11th. Is that the day that John Lennon died?
Oh, that's December 8th.
All right. I'm free the 11th then.
Also coming to New York City for an exclusive week-run engagement is Amazing Grace. It is the Sidney Pollack directed documentary on Aretha Franklin.
Wow, wasn't that from like the 70s?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of legal hassles for years, for decades, and they finally got the cooperation from the Franklin estate.
Legal, huh, Earl? Ugh. You know what I call 100,000 lawyers on the bottom of the sea?
What?
A start. You know what I'm saying, guys?
But this documentary captures Aretha at her absolute peak in 1972. She did a gospel album at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in L.A.
Yeah. Would you say that's before her tits got out of control? I mean, everyone likes big tits, but when it starts to get to a point where it's got a mind of its own.
Yeah. I remember they did this concert special on Fox, which was live, and she was on stage with Rod Stewart, and Abe popped out.
Yeah.
and he just goes, "It was an avalanche of bosom."
Yeah. Bigger than him. The tits were bigger than Rod the Mod. Are you enjoying this filtered excellence, Gail?
I'm loving it.
You
and I love
can
Aretha.
read this every week at the iBang.com. The iBang, a place to get filtered excellence.
Yes, but this film is finally going to be shown. It's going to be at the Film Forum December 7th through the 13th.
I'll be there.
A week long, only a week.
The 11th, I'm going to be doing that Jeff Beck thing, so I already etched that out. What else, Earl?
Oh, we also
give us a little taste.
Also, at Quad Cinema here in New York City, we have Actor for Hire, The Other Side of Orson Welles, which looks at Orson Welles as an actor, not as a director.
Yeah.
So it highlights all of this great work that he's done in front of the camera. So you got like The Third Man. You got
remember on that Western when he was like, "This is one actor who may not feel like acting."
So you got the classic noir film, The Third Man, where as Harry Lime, The Long Hot Summer with Newman and Joanne Woodward, Compulsion, and it really just highlights how amazing an actor he was.
Well, he had one of the greatest voices of all time. Mm-hmm. And I say the two best Shakespearean actors in American history, I'm not counting the Brits, are Orson Welles and myself.
Really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've seen you
to be or not to be. That is a question. 'Twas nobler.
Whether it nobler.
Now, here's the, you know, a lot of people will play Shakespeare in tights. I pull the tights down to my ankles, Earl, and I take my shirt and tuck it up underneath. So the half shirt and ass and balls hanging out. Tethers be there, the pulps of the bed.
Does capture the attention, doesn't it?
I played Romeo and Juliet as a one-man play. I played all the parts.
Even Juliet?
Romeo. Romeo. Let's all to the Romeo. Over here. Stunning.
Yeah, but this series
The New York Times gave it 1 star. One shining star.
Bullshit.
They go from 1 down to 4.
Go backwards.
Would it go backwards? Starting at 1 is backwards now.
Yeah, but Actor for Hire, The Other Side of Orson Welles, it coincides with the...
Drop it. Move on.
Release.
What else you got? I mean, I never like to go backwards. You know what I mean? Keep shining. Head east is what I say. Other people head west. I head east.
Okay. We also have on HBO Say Her Name, The Life and Death of Sandra Bland.
That's pronounced Bullock. Sandra Bullock.
It's Sandra Bland. She was the woman who was arrested at the traffic stop in Texas, and then they found her dead in her cell from a hanging 3 days later. And this film looks at
how depressing it is to be stuck in prison for 3 days.
Well, she was the last communication she gave before she was saying, "I'm getting out, I'm okay." And then next thing you know, they found her head, hung in her cell, and it was very suspicious. And they really kicked off the how black women are just as victims of police brutality, because they said she should have never been arrested for that traffic stop.
No,
Earl?
it was insane.
No comment. As a member of the Proud Boys, I don't want to go one way or another on this.
You don't want to be off brand.
Yeah, but the film, it has video of her. I mean, because she made like these little viral videos. She was very politically active, and they basically try to tie in together what led to not only the arrest but also
What's this going to be on, Earl?
It is on HBO now, and it's on HBO HBO Go and HBO Now, and also HBO proper.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it.
I'm going to watch it backwards so I get a happier ending.
Oh, she turned out okay.
Yeah, she's just going for a drive.
And album-wise, we have The Terror End of Beauty.
Oh, God, I love that album.
It's by this group, the group Harriet Tubman. They named themselves after.
Oh, no. That's what I call controversial.
Named it after the famed abolitionist. It's three virtuosos. It's Brendan Ross on guitar, Melvin Gibbs on bass, and J.T. Lewis on drums. One of the best records of the year, and it's everything from like it rocks. It has.
This is black rock, correct?
Yes.
Would you say that this is Black's answer to Grand Funk Railroad? Just a real power trio?
No, more
kind of a triumph sound, like if Canada was all black people.
No, it's more in line of like Sonny Chirac, Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You would love it. I mean, it's just like real sonic explorations. It's has a great cover of Redemption Song by Bob Marley. Completely takes the song in a different direction.
I'm glad somebody's doing something with that song because it never did anything for me. Yeah.
But it's available now on iTunes and all streaming services as well as Amazon.
Amazon.com?
Amazon.com, yes.
Is that wrapping it up for you, Earl? You got another one?
One more.
You got one more?
Got one more.
Do
Gail,
another one.
You have time for one more?
Do another one.
Yep.
Got one more album.
Any idea where we can get the new Bennington family t-shirts?
Yeah, at ibangshop.com. ibangshop.com for the brand new Bennington t-shirt.
Which is always excellent.
Thank you.
I got one more album.
Can't wait to hear it.
It is it's by the band Shelley Nicole's Black Bush.
Boy.
And it's
controversial.
And it's called I Am an American, produced by my good friend Vernon Reed.
Oh.
And Shelley, she's been, in the New York scene for many, many years, singing with bands like Burnt Sugar and this
Stuff
album.
like that.
This album is incredible. It's kind of like a Betty Davis vibe, has a Rufus vibe.
Like Betty Davis eyes?
Not Betty Davis eyes, but Betty Davis, Miles Davis's first wife. Second wife, I'm sorry.
Too bad.
Another great rock. Has rock, funk, soul, killer cover of the Doobie Brothers' Long Train Runnin', which it kind of takes a whole Santana vibe to it. Another incredible, incredible record. It's called I Am American by Shelley Nicole's Black Bush. And again, one of the year's best.
That name makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Is it the Bush part?
Yeah.
It's spelled a little differently, but
but it means the same thing, right?
it's an attention getter. Let's just say it that way.
Well, that's more attention than I want right now. And believe me, I try to be on both sides of the fence. Just like Trump, I say there's good on both sides, there's bad on both sides. There's good in the white supremacists, there's bad in people who aren't white supremacists.
Is there?
I'm just going by what our president. To me, what I always say, it's my country, right or wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I stick with us when we're wrong. That's when they need me most.
You love it or leave it?
Mm-mm.
No, I'll never leave it.
I'm not leaving. I'm not even leaving for a minute.
No, if someone criticizes you, tell them you can love it or leave it.
I don't even know what you mean by that, Earl. Love it or leave it. How could someone love a country?
No, if someone is criticizing the country, you tell them, you can love it or you can leave it.
Oh, I would never say that. I would say, get out. I'd go like this. Get your black bush out of here, sir. You, sir. Take your black bush and get out of my country. I would like to, just as an example, switch this place to 49 states of America. Get everybody back on fucking, like, oh, shit. Did you see what they did to Rhode Island? That's right. I told them to get out.
You still want to get rid of the states that don't connect?
No. I don't feel that way anymore, Earl. I went through a period of that like most young people do. But guess what? I grew up. I see the way the world works. And the world is a cruel mistress, Earl Douglas. The world's like an old whore who has to make a couple extra bucks by doing anal.
You get rid of Rhode Island?
A little estate. Perhaps the only state that could technically be called a midget. Do you know that out of everybody that appeared in Judy Garland's classic, The Wizard of Oz, every Munchkin is from Rhode Island. And up there they were considered tall.
It's nuts.
That's a good recruitment.
These nuts.
Odd coincidence.
It's great for the state tourism.
Are you familiar with Providence, Rhode Island?
No.
Yes.
Providence, Rhode Island. Providence is the only city that's bigger than the state that it's in.
What?
How?
Exactly. How? Why?
It's a miracle of physics.
Has nothing to do with physics. The sprawl goes outside of the state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So your yes end was completely fucking ridiculous. All right, we got to get to break here, but I haven't brought up the fact, Earl, that all of us are wearing Bennington shirts every single day, but you never seem to be. It seems like you go straight black.
I go straight black. I could change that. I would love the Bennington shirt. It's excellent.
As a matter of fact, there's 2 different pictures of Earl on the Bennington shirt. And if you find them, you'll be called Listener of the Year as we do the Listener of the Year wrap-ups.
2.
You go to ibangshop.com to get that t-shirt.
I always like to give out an award for someone who hasn't missed listening to a live show this year. And this year that goes to me. I've listened to every single live show. Even though for 2 of the shows, I was in Austin, Texas, and just listening on the radio.
That is true.
You remember that, Gail?
Yes. Oh my God.
Do you remember who you had in?
Yes, I had Tom Sharpling one day and Christy Cello.
I was racked with jealousy. Hey, Tom Sharpling has never even said to you, congratulations on the baby.
He has.
Oh, okay.
In text form.
I thought I caught him. I thought this is one time you're in the trap, my friend. The trapper becomes the trapper key. All right. We need to break here, Christopher?
We need a break, yes.
All right. Right back, Bennington. It's the Bennington Show.
Coming up, it's the close of the year, and I feel like it's about that time everybody starts talking about, was there a standout album of the year?
I didn't know they still made albums.
Yes, they do still make albums. Not the same way, though. It's not vinyl anymore, but people still like download albums. And I feel like people are attempting to put the value back on it, but music is like so varied now. Like there's so many different genres. But did you guys have a standout album for you of the year?
I don't think I listened to an entire album this year. I had one from last year, but this year I did not press play on any album. I listened to songs. Most of the time I went, oh, I thought this was supposed to be a lot better.
Yeah, there was like a couple like breakout kind of pop songs and hip hop songs that kind of stood out. But I think that there is nothing better when you get a perfect album, and it's a very rare thing. Did anyone have like an album this year?
Yeah, this artist Tiana Taylor. The album was produced by Kanye as part of this thing where he went to Wyoming and worked with like different artists, put out
the Wyoming sessions.
Yeah, the Wyoming sessions. Every week was a new album. Tiana got kind of underlooked because she was like overshadowed by Nas and Pusha T and Kanye and Cudi. But Tiana's album was so much fun. She had this song on the album called "Work This Pussy" or "Work That Pussy" that was like a standout. I even like messaged it to you because I thought you would love it. But that album was so much fun to me during the summer.
I think that there's like a lot of like young black women who are like throwing out really good albums. I feel like it's almost like there's a lot more happening with like R&B and hip hop
Yeah, there's.
I'm certainly going to look into work that pussy. I don't know how it got by me.
You probably
work that pussy.
It's WTP. It also goes by.
And she was overlooked because so much else was happening with the Daytona album. Pusha T.
Daytona Pusha T was the first album of the Wyoming sessions.
Yeah. That I remembered the hype.
What about for you, Earl? Because you're a music guy. I feel like you always.
Wow, there was a bunch of them. Look Now, Elvis Costello.
Now, where would you rank that on the Elvis Costellos of all time?
Pretty high. I mean, it was pretty strong because it was kind of an amalgamation of all of his musical personas. You had a little bit of
leftovers. Is the word that you're looking for? Leftovers from other albums.
It's like a best of, but like you don't know them yet.
It's a best of that didn't make the album.
But they didn't sound like it. I mean, you were sitting there going like, how did he leave this off? How did he leave that off? The songs were outstanding. Of course, the Imposters are arguably one of the best backup bands, maybe of all time, because they are. They just are. It's basically.
I wonder if James Brown just rolled right now in his grave.
Yeah, but they're up there. And so there was the Elvis album, it was the Tom Morello album, the Atlas Underground, which was great because it was kind of married big beats with big EDM beats with big, heavy guitar riffs.
He's into like the EDM.
He wasn't, and until he started listening to, he got turned on to a couple EDM bands, and he was like, "Wow, the drumming was very rock and roll," and he married the two together with the big beats of EDM with heavy guitar riffs. Outstanding album. An artist from England, Ebony Bones, Nephilim, which was an incredible record.
What genre is that?
Oh man, it's really hard to pin down because she's so multi-genred, you know.
Yeah.
So it has a little bit of obviously of a rock thing, a pop thing. There's one track called "Bone in My Bones" that has this featured vocalist on it. Outstanding. Oh, and I'm drawing a blank on her name.
I honestly thought the name was outstanding because I know where we are in this world today.
Chris, are you an album guy?
There's one album I listened to this year, and that was Open Mike Eagle's new album, Things I Do When I Try to Relax. And actually, we heard some of it at the New Negro show at JFL.
It's a really fantastic album. I'm a big fan. And I was a big fan of his last album. But he seems to be like a concept guy. He thinks a big picture when he puts his
That TV show is finally going to be released this year by Comedy Central.
Oh, nice.
I saw it on stuff that Comedy Central was bragging about, like, coming next year. And I'm finally seeing it. And they recorded that well before Montreal. So
right. Yeah, I think he's a fantastic artist, like a true artist who thinks
I think he's got half the talent of his own son.
I think he would admit
that kid
too.
Is amazing.
He's a great dancer.
Yeah. It's fire too.
The song we heard at JFL, Relatable, he like releases a single first, and like I was obsessed with that song when we heard it at JFL. Was so excited to hear it when he released it, and he told me what was holding us up was he was like, I hate naming songs like a lyric from the song. He was like trying to find like a different name for it.
Tell him we'll name all of his songs for him. By the way, I still have Fuck's album. I haven't listened to it yet, but next week we will play a song from Fuck's. I'm so happy to say this prog rock band.
It's keeping it alive.
Well, you'd have to bring it all the way back from the death. This is Frankenstein time.
What was the reasoning for the prog, the progressive of the rock? Like, why did it get that name?
Well, because it was taking it away from rock and roll. You know what I mean? We were progressing.
Right, we're moving.
And this all really had to do with the people overreacted to the Sgt. Pepper album. So as each year went by, it got more and more complicated until finally, one song lasted 3 album sides.
Right.
Is when there was just fucking a ridiculous amount of orchestration being added and further away from any music any kid could play themselves.
I always kind of tend to lean away from music that like musicians are really like into.
They
you know
like,
what I mean?
yes.
They're just like fiddling about on things.
And that's
you're
when we
like,
were talking about that Miles Davis time where it was noise. And I guess we were supposed to like it, like we were splattering paint.
right.
But we're like, what is this? And you're like, they are enjoying themselves.
It's the kind of music that makes you feel like a jerk if you even try to attempt to say that you don't get it or you're not into it. You're
Yeah.
like, this is distancing on purpose. I'm going to throw my favorite album out for the year. So Courtney Barnett had a great album this year. Cardi B with the Invasion of Privacy was like a great hip hop album. But I am putting the best album of the year to one that I have not stopped listening to since it came out. And that's Robin's new album, Honey, which I normally would never recommend to you a pop album or like a club album in any way.
But what else is there?
But this, I mean, it's an incredibly brilliant, well thought out album. And it's like start to finish. Like, I think that you could be like on the road, you could be traveling and like in a trance kind of state with it. And it's so damn good.
I don't know if I want to be traveling in a trance state. I'm a little nervous about that now. All right, I'm going to look into Honey by Robin.
I think you should.
And I'm going to recommend to you guys my album of the year, Blood on the Tracks, Bob Dylan. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. As everybody here tried to say, I know you're not going to like this, but it is good.
Ron, have you listened to the new bootleg series that it's devoted entirely to Blood on Tracks?
No, I haven't listened to this.
It's called More Blood, More Tracks. And it, remember, the original album was cut in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He scrapped it, redid what we now know as the classic album. This covers those missing sessions, and it's basically him stripped down.
Yeah.
It is raw. It is beautiful. It is incredible.
You know what? You're literally doing the plot to Juliet Naked. Have you guys seen that movie?
I haven't, but I have seen the posters.
Everybody thinks it's about a naked woman. It isn't. There's this album, Juliet, that they all loved, and this is just exactly what he was saying. Just the stripped down thing that's so supposed to be so precious. But it's almost like if you guys were to get Airplane Over the Sea with just the demo.
Right,
Stuff. That's
yeah.
what the entire movie is about.
Yeah, I think if you love a band enough or like a songwriter enough, then you're going to have an interest in hearing like the song in its most basic form.
Remember, what was it, 2 days ago, I told you I twisted my knee?
Yeah.
Reading my phone as I was going down the steps. Throbbing still.
Ah.
So this may have to be taken off. The leg might have to be taken
The
off.
knee is so important to the leg.
And
I can't tell you.
they want to do it from the thigh. I'm going to take it all the way up to the crotch because what am I going to do with the thigh? I don't want it there.
Wouldn't you rather half peg leg than full?
No, I'm not peg legging. I'm straight into a wheelchair.
No prosthetic leg?
I saw somebody with like it looked like they had a knee injury, right? So their leg was up, and then they had a peg leg, and it was a woman, and she was just walking along with it.
Yeah,
You know, it's, why would you know? What do
I
you
saw
work at the hospital?
gymnasts mainly use that, so they're still like walking around and shit while their knee is messed up.
Yeah.
So they're not just like walking around on crutches. But I've seen it too. Your legs bent back, just on the kneecap, you have a peg leg, and it looks ridiculous because they're taking these awkward steps.
Wait, so it's not on like the wheelchair type?
No. There's no wheelchair.
I've never seen
All right,
this.
so I only saw it once. So here it is. The ouch! I'm fucking hurting myself. The leg is up like that. It stays like that.
Yeah.
And the peg goes underneath. For a kind of a lazy pirate look. And I know that you think it looks weird, but I instantly fell in love with this woman. I want to spend the rest of my life with her.
I want to take care of her.
Guess what her name is? And I did talk to her. It's Peg. Is that ironic?
That is weird.
She didn't get it. I told her, I'm fucking flipping out right now. Another shot of tequila?
Is that it?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Dude, that is crazy. It seems like it would be perfect for a...
I recognize this dog. This is definitely her. This is the woman.
I like that you still have to keep your foot in a boot at the same time. That feels a little
weighty,
redundant. I also like the scooter that people use, like the little, not a scooter, but it's like a wheel.
A skater?
Yeah.
Is it a skater? You're just like scooting around. It looks more fun than walking normally.
Remember, that's the one that from what was her name? Christmas.
Oh yeah, Christmas on Big Brother used that.
Yeah.
Christmas on Big Brother
That's
had
why
like
he knew it.
3/4 of a show that she did, which was kind of bullshit.
I think it showed that she's ready to kick ass and compete. I think the people of this house are going to start respect me.
I definitely respect her just because she was dropped while dancing.
Hey, I've got a runner-up for album of the year, and I forgot about it. It's Asia by Steely Dan. Oh, Wayne Shorter just pops in out of nowhere. Wayne Shorter, weather report.
I think that it's fine to say that you have an album of your year. You're like,
Yes.
this year I got really into this again.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums of the year, I think, has the worst title.
Yeah.
It's Alan Raymond. The album's called Harry Hard-On.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
Is that like...
It's a tribute to the movie from
Pump up the
the
volume.
Pump Up the Volume. Thank you, Chris. Chris saw himself as a young Harry Hard-On.
He saw that movie, and that's how
yeah,
he got
'cause
into radio.
He had a walkie-talkie that he used to hang out his window.
Now, what was Harry Hard-On saying that was like so extreme? Like, why? I mean, obviously he had a pirate radio show, so
Right.
that was the problem. But he was also like very anti-PC before.
Yeah,
that was a
I mean,
thing.
he brought up, man, that it's tough to be a kid and sometimes you jerk off. You know what I mean?
Lot of jerk off.
Yeah, a lot of jerk off stuff.
It's like people don't care for my jerk off humor. Well, I'm gonna pirate this show.
Listen to me, I'm jerking off right now.
At one point, it goes off. He like turns off the broadcast. One guy's like, sometimes he's on for 2 minutes, sometimes he's on for 9 hours.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
true,
never know
man.
with Harry, man.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's terrible broadcasting.
I like to think of it as the world's first podcast.
No, wasn't it like the FCC was like chasing him down?
Yeah. They were freaking out because, I guess the local radio was saying he's stealing from us. But I'm getting together. I didn't even talk, everybody's talking about podcasting these days. I'm finally getting into it. Fuck and I are doing a what we call a prodcast. So it's just a chance for us to prog it up. We're gonna be taking a long look at King Crimson. Yeah, and then finally some Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And I'd like to get into Magician's Birthday by Uriah Heep. I think it's an exciting time. Like Earl just likes the dumb references. The difference is, Earl, to you, it's all like ridiculous, and to me, it happened for real.
It's not ironic to him.
No, I've heard Uriah Heep's years.
Dude, I saw them sell out a fucking arena once.
No, they were a huge band.
And this was maybe one of the best things. The fucking lead singer just disappears for a while in the middle of the show. He comes back out. His fucking nose is bleeding. So the next song he's done with a towel up to his nose, and the song after that he just laid on his back. I'm like, I don't think Uriah Heep is into this.
It's so perfect.
Yeah.
I think that I could be wrong, and I can't remember why we were playing a Uriah Heep song, but I think when I was pregnant, we were playing a bunch of music.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we played a Uriah Heep song, she went totally silent. She was
Right.
like, I don't get this.
Yeah, it's too weird.
Suddenly I don't understand.
I forgot how much she would just jump around when we played music.
Yeah. She really, really does.
Yeah. I think you're kind of getting bored with the baby.
I'm not. I'm really not getting bored with my own child.
Look what she's doing.
I know, it's crazy. She just started this.
All right.
She just started this morning.
I want you guys to come over and see this. She's 4 months old, right? Now, watch this from the beginning. This is something Vito can't do yet. Now, 4 months old.
Okay.
She's playing peekaboo.
Holy shit.
Okay.
This is highly advanced.
How is that happening, dude? When did that start?
It just started this morning. just started this morning.
I am
where
sending
she
this
started-
directly to my sisters. I borax the shit out of my sisters with this.
Do they seem like they're getting...
They love it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is I had to say, like, immediately after she was born, I was like, hey, I better check in with people and ask, am I sending too many pictures? 'Cause
You
you're
could
gonna
never
love
send too many.
You're going to love your child, but then suddenly you're like, oh, am I that person? Things
I
like,
wanted her
"Oh,
to get her
wow."
own Instagram.
She should.
Her sense of awareness is amazing.
It's crazy. 4 months old. You should not be playing peekaboo.
No.
I'm thinking genius.
She must be a baby genius or a boss baby. Either way. I haven't seen the film, but I feel like she's qualified.
I still get stressed out and think everybody's gone when they hide their face.
Dear God.
You should have fun with it. You shouldn't be scared.
No, I'm just like, where did you go, Ron?
No one is supposed to be crying during peekaboo.
All right, I'm going to show you guys one more video because this is
Yeah.
a
Which
new
one?
thing too. This is from last night.
This I couldn't believe.
So this just started this week. This is called Tripod Sit. And she's already sitting on her.
Wow, and like
And
holding herself up.
Holding
Yes.
herself up and trying to crawl already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's been trying to crawl for a month and she rolls over.
She's a psycho, like when it comes to that shit. She's really nuts.
How soon are kids are supposed to crawl?
Within the year?
7 years?
Yeah, I guess 7 or 8 years.
Wow, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. It's really varied, but this is definitely on the early end.
My big sister said, "What a smart baby. So damn cute." And I if you could just go back to that, it's just all pictures of Juliet and then one with me with Seinfeld and Gervais, which they were very excited
That's
about.
very advanced for your age.
Well, hold on. I just want to say this. Neither one of them knew who Gervais was. But they did know Seinfeld comes on at 7. Isn't that funny? Like, no matter how big you get today, not everyone is going to know you.
No, it is really weird.
Yeah.
And Seinfeld is interesting because my mom's mom, despite the fact that how long the show has been on TV, his level of fame, is she's like, now what about the Ziegfeld show? Still calls him Ziegfeld.
Yeah, the Follies. She used to be a big fan of the Ziegfeld Follies. My dad, out of that whole show, which he calls Steidenfeld, I believe. The only one he likes is Kramer, and that's for his stand-up. He said he really brings on the truth.
I remember it was the last episode, so everything in the news was about Seinfeld and like talking about years past, and so I remember I talked to my grandfather, and he's like, "Well, are you going to be watching that show tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to watch the finale." And he's like, "Yeah, that's a good show. I remember the episode with the yada da yada da." I'm like, close.
Yada da yada da.
So yes, it doesn't matter how famous you are. There are still people who are going to fuck up your name or
Yeah.
not who you
Or
know who
what
you are.
you've done.
Was yada 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 like invented on Seinfeld? That was like from Seinfeld?
Yes. Where else would it be from?
I don't, because I just hear it in just everyday life. I didn't realize it was from the show.
Yes, it is.
Nuts.
I feel embarrassed that you don't know where things
No,
come from.
I don't know where a lot of things come from.
And-
Babies.
They also invented lobster bisque. That
What?
didn't
Yeah.
exist.
Lobster bisque. You know, the
I
other night
mentioned the
I was
bisque.
coming home and I went past the Soup Nazi, and it's back at the original location.
Oh, it is?
Not a single person online.
Really?
Yeah, they fucked up.
It was legit. Good
It was
soup.
great
Yeah.
fucking soup, and then they tried to go worldwide with
Yep.
it, and they fucked up their brand. Because it's not supposed to be a frozen soup.
No.
You're not supposed to get the most amazing soup in the world frozen. You couldn't have made a nice fortune for yourself just having a line and feeding those people soup every day. Because the markup on soup must be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be fucking $8 on the nickel.
I mean, think about it. It's mostly water.
And that was expensive soup.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would get like a little bowl of soup and a piece of bread for $10. You
I
can't make a fortune off that.
I know that it was great soup because I'm one of those people where it's like never interested in soup. for the most part.
Me neither. It's a waste of fucking time. By the time it cools down, your fucking entree should be there.
I know. And and I definitely don't like it as a nap. I definitely don't want to like sit there, slurp a bowl of soup, and then later have a meal.
You'd rather just have the soup?
I'd just rather it not exist for the
I'm
most
with you.
part. But it's like a snack or something. I can't explain it.
Here's what it is to me. Should I run some hot water over that meat?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty hearty for me to even be slightly interested.
I have friends, even in Florida, they had to have soup before anything else. They had to start with soup.
If you're
Jews are like that.
If you're giving me soup or salad, if we're that type of place,
yeah,
which usually is a bad sign anyway. But
Yes.
if I'm given the option soup or salad, I'm going salad.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
I definitely don't want to ladle my own soup. I find that disgusting.
Soup for the table.
Oh yeah, soup just ladle yourself soup looks hideous. Like I don't mind if it's coming from behind a counter, but staring at
But here's the truth. Having said all that, the lobster bisque from the soup Nazi was the best soup I've ever had in my life.
I agree. They had do great bisque.
Yeah.
Great bisque. Although I did do the mulligatawny, which was like, I remember Elaine's favorite.
Mulligatawny.
It was like,
how was it?
It was just not my thing. It's not my flavor profile. It's kind of like an Indian stew. But yeah.
But we ought to order lunch from there one day. Just see how
see if they've got
the new
back.
original is doing. Yeah, it's a pretty good walk from here, though. What is it like? Well, Studio 57, right? That's where it is down the street from there.
It's like
Nine
it's
blocks.
right down from Studio 54.
8 blocks.
Yeah.
It was Studio 54, not Studio 57.
I thought you
should
meant
be fired from Sirius XM.
I thought you meant that your old studio on 57th Street.
No, that'd be ridiculous.
I thought that was just your cute name for it.
I never said that. No, I wish I would have. God, how I pray for a time machine. What was the name of that album again? Pop That Pussy? What was it
Work
called?
That Pussy, WTP.
Okay, Work That Pussy.
Tiana Taylor.
Tiana Taylor seems like somebody that your daughter should be in preschool with. My friend's Tiana Taylor.
You're going to Tiana's house?
Yeah, Tiana Taylor. It doesn't sound like an adult's name by the time you get to Tiana.
Which makes it extra disturbing with the Pop That Pussy.
Work That Pussy.
Well, whatever. You can work it, pop
Don't
it.
pop it.
Pop it is so 90s. Yeah. Pop that pussy. Pop that pussy. Oh, 2 Live. You really were some crew, weren't you? What are you doing? Typing up a resume, Chris? Get to it as soon as you can. Send it out. What is that place that's supposedly only for... because people send me friend requests, but it's only for your resume.
LinkedIn.
If I was fucking running a business, like, do any of you guys have a LinkedIn?
I have a LinkedIn.
I'm going to replace you immediately because that's a guy looking for a job.
No, I've just had it. They make you do it in college, and then you just don't get rid of it.
Cottage.
In cottage, they make you when you go to when you stay in a cottage, but they make you make it in college as part of like just your like getting ready to apply for jobs class. Like they make you make a resume, do a LinkedIn.
Getting ready to apply for jobs class.
Yeah, I don't know what that class is called.
You spent $150,000, and you think there's something called the Get Ready for Jobs class.
Yeah, get ready for jobs class. It was in the 23rd Street buildings.
I would have rather seen you spend $150,000 on drugs. At least you'd have some fun memories.
You could have spent it to make a feature length of that short I hear was so good.
Bigfoot Project.
Is that what the name of it? Project?
No, it was called Getting Sassy.
That was a mistake.
It was originally Finding Harry.
You know, I wanted to ask you guys this question.
Feel
that I was
free.
thinking. Do you ever modify your tip based on service? So there's like an idea that that's what people are to do, right? Like, oh, if it's good service, you give this. If it's great service, you do this. Shit service.
Look, I don't know why. Sometimes I literally over tip. I think I brought this up to you guys. I'd order a cheese omelet and I wanted sausage on the side. I even made her say it back to me. She put the sausage in the cheese omelet. It completely changes the meal. the sausage does not have the same taste. It seems cheaper. But I'm not going to make a replace. And then I overtipped.
On purpose? Like,
Yes,
was it
on
like,
purpose. Like here, you did such a good job. Because I feel like that's almost more embarrassing than
Right.
that. If I fight with a cab driver, I give him extra money to let him know, hey, you owe me, fucker, not I owe you. I think it stays with him.
Have you?
Maybe years at a time.
He's just laying up at night, just like 50% tip.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times that 50% tip, if it's not for a large meal, is not that expensive.
No.
You know what I mean? So if you're going out for breakfast, instead of giving 5, you give 8 to shove it up their ass for an extra $3.
I have never done no tip or less tip. That's why I asked, because I've never
Because
went
you've
lower.
worked you've worked service jobs.
Because here's what I know about tipping less than 20%. That like most people do that. So it's like if you have terrible service and you just give them 20%, you know someone else is going to get them. Probably the table next to you. Someone's going to get them today. That's why if you have exceptional service, you should go way above and beyond.
Agreed.
Because you're not necessarily giving them, you're never going to give them above 20% for the night. They're never going to make that because you would be shocked how many people tip under 20%.
Also, I do this. If I'm in a booth and the people are next to me in a booth, I'll throw them a tip if they don't keep leaning back into mine. I mean, to me, that's more important than the meal most of the time. They're not bouncing into my back.
I've only ever undertipped once. I tipped, and I only did like instead of 20, I did like 14 because I went to this Japanese place. And during my meal, I noticed they took away the happy hour sign outside. And then when they gave me the check, they charged me full price. And they were like, I don't know what sign you were talking about.
But you just fucking stiffed the person who didn't do that. That's the other problem. A lot of times it's the fault of the fucking cook or the manager.
So
and
often,
you
yeah.
stiffed the fucking server.
So that is a good example. Is a lot of times people will punish a server for like, oh, my steak was overcooked. Did you tell your server and your server try to help you?
Yeah.
Right.
Then that's, like that's one thing. But if you're just like, I didn't really like the food, lower tip is not the person that you're fucking, they're going to make their money for the night.
The waitress started yelling at me and calling me a liar and saying that a sign never existed.
Dude, I'd say the same thing to you all the time.
I think next time you take his idea.
Just throw down $30.
Over tip.
Here,
Over tip
fucker.
out of anger.
Deal with it.
Chris, do you tip at all? or-
Yes, of course I tip.
After you snap your fingers
Chris,
at them and come over.
This was a thing.
Hey, Chris,
Never snap.
tipping isn't just the city in China. You know.
I did a pretty much stiff one waiter once in Austria, which you're not even supposed to tip.
That's pronounced Australia, Chris.
I was in some fucking beer garden, and first of all, they sat me nowhere near anyone else, like literally in an island by myself.
Good move so far.
What was it? The stink?
I don't believe I stank that badly compared to Austrians. And this motherfucker just ignored me the whole night. Like I couldn't get a Coke sent to my table. So then I left €2 for the fucking tip. I can't remember what the bill was. And I feel bad about it, but he really pissed me off at the time.
Here's the thing. He said, I feel bad about it. It still bothers him.
Yeah, it
To
does.
this day. Overtip for fucking an extra €3, you'd be living life without any stress and strain. Here's the important thing to me. How much do you tip your motel maid daily?
I do $5 a day.
$10 a day.
15.
You're lying.
No, you
Earl.
don't.
Bullshit.
You just lied.
15 a day or total?
15. I'm always a 15 guy. Always.
Hold on,
Always
He's
15.
breaking his 20 because of
15.
his rule. He's like,
15. They're always happy with the 15.
How do
It's
you
not-
know? You never even see her. That's the beauty of the maid.
They come back.
they come back and go,
What are you,
I saw-
staying in the room?
I saw
With your dick out while they clean around you?
Excuse me, are you number 304? I saw the 15 and I was very pleased.
I say the reason that most people don't tip their maids is because they don't see them and they don't get that pleasurable moment. I have a friend, not going to say who he is. Let him be private because he doesn't want to live a public life. He had to wait until he saw the person. And, he would overtip, but he wanted to get that
personal experience. Right.
And then sometimes they would just try to take it. He'd go, no, open it up.
See what's in there.
By the way, for a full dinner, he didn't tip what fucking Earl throws to his mate. When's the last time you were even in a hotel room? Who was president?
Obama.
You were tipping back.
I went to,
you were tipping 15 back in 07.
I went to Indiana University in 2009.
2009 is the last time.
Yeah.
Do you realize that's 9 years ago? You're bragging about your 15. The 15 is a lie, Earl.
15.
It's a fucking lie.
How many nights were you there?
2.
So $30 altogether, or
$30.
15 a day?
$30.
So how do you know
Night
you get
in
the
there.
same maid? You never know. That's why I say tip per night.
I used to do at the end, and then you pointed out that.
Yeah, what are we
you
on a
set me-
cruise ship?
You set me straight as well. Because it's embarrassing, and I wish I could go back and undo it.
You're
Because
like
I
this
used to
fucking
tip.
Euro boy.
I used to tip $5 a day.
Yeah.
But I tipped at the end, and I didn't realize I was fucking over like the earlier mate.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
and then you pointed out, I think, to leave a note like, "This is for you."
Yeah. If you don't have an envelope, like just write thanks on one of those things. So sometimes they have to wait to find out if it actually is left for them.
I also never take the do not disturb sign off my door, so they only come in when I'm out of the hotel. So is that worse or
Well,
better?
first of all, they're not going to come in if you're out of the hotel. How are they going to know?
No, I
if
mean,
you
like
have
when I
to-
check out, until I check out. So they don't ever clean the room until
Yeah,
I
you
check
better
out.
fucking come in because your stank is all over that place.
Yeah.
All right.
You jerk off 3 times a day.
Yeah, easily.
You're giving them more work though, because
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Like,
he better not do his fucking 15. I do 15.
I'm a 15 guy.
First of all,
They
it's
like
been
15.
so long since Earl's been on the road, he stayed at a men's hotel. Now, anybody who I think tips well, it's because they've worked in the service industry before in their life.
Yeah. I think everyone should at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's very important to realize what it's like.
Well, we live in a world where really everyone is in the service industry, no matter, you know what I mean? Like this, believe it or not, is a service industry. You're not supposed to go, to yell at a fucking subscriber is different than yelling at a listener.
Right.
You dumb fucker. Well, they pay every month. It's not like terrestrial, where you're just driving around like an idiot, just hoping some fucking signal comes in.
We should just always say thank you for your business.
I'm going to do that. I hate to say it, but I think subscribers deserve more of our respect than the troops. Because what do the troops ever do? You can't finish a job in Afghanistan after 17 years? Come on, guys. Wrap this up.
I
We
think
did World War II in 4 years.
the subscribers need a ribbon of their own for sure.
Ribbon in the sky, Stevie Wonder style.
Earl loves the references.
Yeah. Yeah, he
They make
loves
him
a
so
reference.
pleased.
He loves a reference that he gets. He's like the peekaboo baby. God, I'm so impressed with it. 4 months old.
I know.
She's playing peekaboo.
She's very clever. Clever girl.
Clever little thing. Just a tiny, tiny clever girl. So clever for a girl, aren't you? Too bad you're not a young man. I think of sending you to university. Instead, we want to find you a nice doctor, lawyer, an undertaker, something substantial that you can take care of your pretty dresses and ribbons.
Undertaker?
Yeah, Undertaker's good money, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's good fucking steady money. People die. Maybe you're not familiar with somebody named George H.W. Bush.
I applied for a job with an undertaker.
Did you?
once. Yep. And I thought that I could do it. But immediately after entering, I was like, I can't do this.
No?
And it wasn't about, like bodies or something. It was about the
Sadness of it all?
sadness and the feeling, like the immediate moment I walked in, I was like, nope, I don't think I could do it every day. I thought it would be almost like an important service job. Like I thought of it that way. That
is?
like it's like, oh, it would be great to be there for people.
Your
I
Aunt
don't
Snooki
know.
used to work for an undertaker, and then my great buddy that I grew up with, his dad was an undertaker. He took over the business. Very nice business to be in, particularly in a Catholic neighborhood.
Oh yeah, 'cause
Italians, Polish, Irish, they
go
like to
big,
go
too.
big.
Yeah.
Italians go way big.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of people's like, nothing's too good for Ma. And then, they fucking sign a thing and then they're like, they're getting a check every fucking, they got to fucking pay once a month on
Right.
this because they weren't in a fucking marble casket dipped in gold. And they're like, what for what? But at the time, they want it really, really large.
once the grief wears
Yeah.
off a little bit, you're
Yeah.
like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. I've got children to take care of. Mom's gone.
You get her a huge mausoleum.
Yeah, and it's not like they can just go, all right, well, we're going to dig your mother up and drop her back off here in your driveway because you're fucking cheap. It's the biggest problem in that business. People, it's the last person who gets paid. The very last.
You told me too that he had told you that it's also he's seen so many family fights.
Most families will break up at a funeral more than anything else. It's always the same thing, money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a chance now. And I've heard this from priests before. I've heard it from anyone who's been around death. They will say adult brothers and sisters will have a fight that sometimes takes decades to fix.
God, that's so horrible.
There was this thing, right? A funeral I was at as a kid. So all the kids chipped in for the family flowers, right? And you get flowers from other people. But there was one person in the family who went and got their own separate thing and had it shaped like something. And I don't want to say what it was, but the other fucking brothers and sisters were so mad that they went and made a special flower thing. That was it.
Wow.
They were fucking done. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to say the truth. You tried to fucking showboat.
Yeah, why didn't you say, hey, I got a cool idea. Why don't we split this? You don't want everyone else taking credit for your good idea, your nice shaped flowers?
Yeah. Shaped like a family pet. And I was like, even a little kid, I'm like, well, that's fucking wrong. I get that completely.
What do you think? You're real hoity toity with
Yeah.
those special flowers.
But isn't it always funny when a family breaks up over such a thing?
Yeah.
And then if you have that in your family and you see, like, let's suppose there's a cousin
Mm-hmm.
or that you're like, I'm done with that person. But then you have a brother or sister who's still close with them. That's like a fucking stab in your heart.
Yeah.
Creates weirdness.
It makes you look at the people who go, oh, I don't side with you at all. I side with them. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm not too close to them either.
My grandmother, right before she passed, she wrote everything out. She wrote the whole funeral because she knew there was going to be a fight.
Yeah.
And that solved it. She had everything written out.
Good idea.
And she was like, no. And
It's called a will, Earl. The thing that you're describing is a will.
But
and you'd be surprised how many families don't have one.
Yeah.
But she knew my father and my aunt would fight.
Yeah.
she was like, I'm just gonna squash it.
Remember what your father said to your aunt too? That was such a good. He goes, "I'm gonna put your face in some dough and make gorilla cookies." Perhaps the most memorable line from that fantastic series.
Dude, the flower thing just reminded me of. So I had a friend's father who passed away not too long ago. And so the funeral was way upstate, so we couldn't make it. So I was sending flowers. So they had a specific florist that everybody was going to.
Yeah.
So I called up the florist and they were like, oh man, we're really not going to have time to do one for you. And I was like, shit, I should have called you earlier. This is terrible. But then she felt bad. And she's like, you know what? I have something pre-made. I'll just slap your name on it. You pay for the thing. And like, I was making it for something else, but you use this. I said, great. Okay, that's perfect. And then later I heard from that family and everyone just kept on being like, the flowers you sent. and I have no idea what the fuck these things were. But I was like, I must have sent either something so huge that like everyone kept bringing it up to me, or so gaudy. Like, I don't know what this one said.
Look, why can't the florist take a picture of the flowers and fucking text you?
I wish
we
she
did
had.
that for everything. That's how, if I was running a place, I go, and we text you a picture of your flowers. Here's something that annoys me. Every year they do the Patrice benefit. Great comedians come out, blah, blah, blah. There are people every year who complain that money goes to his mom and his wife. Like, what did they do? Blah, blah, blah.
That's what a benefit is. So you're benefiting their family.
It still annoys them. Even though you would go and see this show for all these comics, and it's still a fucking deal. There's always people bitching about where the money goes.
By the way, if you go see a living comedian, that person is going to be spending their money on their family,
right?
And that's the way the world works. So the idea is this is income that he would have made,
right? Or somebody will say, "I saw them; they were wearing a nice jacket. They don't need this money." It really annoys the shit out of me.
Terrible.
Because one time Patrice said to me, he goes, "I wish I had the money to buy my mom a house." You heard somebody else say it. Vito, I'm sure you feel that way, right?
Yeah, I would love to get my mom a house.
Well, guess what? She better get used to sleeping on the street in a sleeping bag. Because you're going nowhere fast. Earl bought his mom a house and then he moved into it.
It's part of the deal.
Your mom always cook for you, Earl?
Yeah. Actually, I still, to be quite honest, I helped I paid part of the down payment on that place.
Of course. What do you want to fucking us to have her prayed for you?
No, I'm just saying. I got a piece of that.
I said to you, you fucking bought it and then moved into it. I said the exact same thing. How much you put in? Your normal 15?
15 a day.
I go 15.
I go 15. They like 15.
Mad he was. 15. You were trying to ask him questions. He was just yelling 15.
I was just denying that he was making change.
All right, so is that it, Chrissy?
That's it.
Anything to plug?
Yes. Excuse me. Unmasked with Steve Coogan, John C. Reilly. That's happening coming Tuesday, December 11th.
Jeez, we still pitching that Tuesday show?
One more time. 12:30 p.m.
I'm starting to get nervous.
No need to be nervous. At SiriusXM, go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets.
Just a chance. It sounds like you're going to get them. I mean, it's the end. 2 days before. You got 2 fucking movie stars? All right. See you guys on Monday. Take care, everybody.
Peace.